Hey guys, just a quick note before we get into the pod. Obviously, you know these audios are pulled from the live streams that I do over on Jake's channel, Jake Countdown and DeMarco. On this one, right after the Royal Rumble, we did have a quick audio problem on Jake's side of things. So for the first 3 or 4 minutes or so, the audio is a bit janky. If you can make it past that, please enjoy the rest of the pod and please consider going over to Jake's channel, joining us for the live streams. We're having a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun with the people in the chat, and we'd love to see you guys over there. Thanks a lot. Here's the pod.
Holy cow. Jey Uso, really? I mean, I had money on Punk. That was not at all what I was expecting. I am shocked, surprised, and a bit hopeful for the future. So many stories that could be told. Charlotte Flair is going as well. Cody Rhodes, still the champion, might have destroyed Kevin Owens' neck in the process. Did this one take a mental toll on him? DIY retains through some nefarious means, but that's okay because I've got my one and only true knowledge of the NXT and WWE universe. Spaz Phoenix, what's going on, bud?
I got nothing, man. It doesn't make for good listening, but I got nothing.
For you to be speechless, I am truly baffled. Let us know how the audio is. I've tweaked a few things. I think you're hearing things. You know, we're up in the production value every stream.
No, I had the YouTube video on, and the video came through. The music came through that, and I thought I could hear our music for once, but that's not the case.
Maybe Skype.
Yeah.
But hey, still, we're always trying to up the value over here.
We're trying.
Got my volume increased a little bit as well. It's nice and clear up there, but we're coming across to you because having you be speechless just is not something in my wheelhouse. It's not in your repertoire. It's not, you not talking just doesn't compute for me. I'm crashing out over here, Spaz. Help me, I'm drowning.
I had a really good time tonight, despite, to be fair, we're all flying high right now. There's a couple things that were less than perfect here, and it's one of those. There's some flaws we got to talk about as we go through the show, but also I don't care.
I had a lot of fun with tonight. I enjoyed the women's rumble. I may not love the winner. Could have been worse, and we've had much worse years, but the rumble itself was so much fun. I really had a lot of fun with that there. That was great. And then going ahead and having, a really surprise winner for the men's.
Yep.
I mean, we got an expected outcome with the two middle sandwich matches, but at least they each had their own strengths and weaknesses. We'll discuss. But I need to turn my mic up a bit more. All right, we'll go even more increased. That helps. So let us know.
There we go.
See if that's a little bit better. I've increased it for what you can do. So can't hear me. How about now? Let me know. If that's better.
Can you hear me now? Like the old phone commercial.
We'll wait and see if the stream catches up. It looks like it's working. How about now?
All right, I can hear. Can you hear me now?
Hey, you know what?
Like the old phone commercial.
We'll wait and see if the stream catches up. How to use audio settings. Hold on a second. It looks like it's working. How about now?
All right, I can hear. Can you hear me now?
Hey, you know what?
Like the old phone commercial.
We'll wait and see if the stream catches up. How to use terrible, bud. So all my hard work, all my effort, everything that I put into this.
Can you hear me now?
And the stream has been listening from like a webcam mic or something because XSplit reset 3 times. All my effort, everything that I put into this.
Can you hear me now?
And the stream has been listening from like a webcam mic or something because I'm very frustrated. It's been one of those days. I spent more time at the hospital with my daughter than home, so I apologize. But hey, look at that. All that effort I put in. You guys have at least been hearing Spaz, so now you can hear me. Look at that. So this goddamn thing reset earlier, as you know. All week it just decided to shit the bed, and I've not been able to clip and do what I've wanted to the last few days. Call of Duty hasn't worked. Nothing has really just come and the IT side of things has been stressful. So I went ahead and I got everything to reset, but I was happy because in the mess of all my files, I actually got somebody, they sent us from ringside the moment that Charlotte Flair won. I put it in my Only Flair folder. So hold on, let me pull this up really quick. No, shit, no, hold on. Don't look at this.
Tonight, I take the whole bunch.
Oh, gee, no, that's my OnlyFans. Fuck, don't look at that shit. Gee. God damn it, this is not my night. That was supposed to... So what'd you think of the Rumble?
Lots of fun. Really, I mean, you had to... I don't know where to start. This is like... The Jay thing that we're going to talk about later, I'm sure, has me all over the place. I think the biggest thing from both Rumbles is WWE throwing their dick up on the table and being like, we don't need that many surprises. We had some surprises and some surprises that weren't surprises.
Thankfully, they had a few, but not enough. And that was really kind of the issue here. I don't mind the comedy things. The I Show Speed thing, usually I would poo on if they had...
But it was one.
It was just the one spot, and it was done very well. He even eliminated somebody. I forget who. It was funny.
He eliminated Otis.
Otis, that's right.
Otis then chucked him into the announce area.
Afterwards, he looked like he was going to help him, and then just went ahead and sent him flying.
But the way to measure it out is... He
eliminated Braun Breaker as well. That was the shock part of it, right? No. Braun Breaker eliminated him. Sorry. And that
Braun Breaker tossed him out,
and then he eliminated
Otis. Caught him, and I thought it was
Otis
going to be the
flipped him
babyface.
Backwards. Yeah,
I thought it was going to be the babyface thing of Otis was going to throw him back into the ring, but Otis just chucked him overhead because I guess he cost him his elimination as well. But you know what I'm going to say? He came out and he was eliminated before the next entrance. So,
yeah.
What can you say?
It was a one and done, like you said. It was a simple thing. It was funny.
I'm not familiar with the guy. I don't really give a shit, but also it didn't really affect anything. Like, what did they do? They made a joke out of Tozawa, who's kind of a comedy character. And, like, they could do what they did with I Show Speed with Tozawa, and it wouldn't have changed the Rumble at all.
Exactly. Like, if you notice in the description box down below, I did put in for my notes all of the entrants for the men's and women's Rumble in order. And then on my notes here, I have like eliminated by and who they eliminated for what I could get. I know I missed one or two trying to keep everything, as fine-tuned as I could here. But when I put it back in over here, I swapped the two. So it says eliminated. That's why I had Braun Breaker. And I was like, no.
Okay.
Oh,
okay,
that's right.
On the topic, because I know you did your lottery thing. But I also participated in yours because, I'm the host, so I think I was the first one in the comment section. I also participated in the one over on the Wrestling for Life network, but they give you a number for each Rumble rather than like one or the other.
Yeah.
So here's the people that could have won me a contest. Ludwig Kaiser, Chelsea Green, or Andrade.
You just weren't having a good time there, unfortunately.
I mean, of course I got a Canadian in the Ladies Rumble, which is kind of cool. Chelsea hung out quite a bit. The way they work their thing over there is if you were one of the first 5 eliminated in the first Rumble, you don't even get to participate in the next Rumble.
Yeah.
So at least I made it into the second Rumble.
At least you got that far. It looks
like what was that stupid match they did in WCW, where it was like 3 separate Rumbles and then all the winners went into the big Rumble at the end.
They had.
I don't remember.
I don't remember the name of it. Someone in the chat will know better minds in there. But yeah, I think Juan Salazar is the winner. I do have to certify, but many moons back, I got to meet Lita in person. She, of course, beautiful gal, but coming from my own personal collection. So he is getting signed and sent to him my personal Lita autograph, and it's going straight to him from the DeMarco collection. I've each year given, It's basically an ongoing thing. So people have gotten WWE signed merch before. People have gotten
5th annual for you, right?
Exactly. Stone Cold, the Hardy Boys.
Yeah, you had me set
badass
up with
Billy Gunn.
You had me set up with Ludwig Kaiser. So
let's.
I thought I would have had you in there with being a co-host, but that just didn't happen at all.
I tried to give you a little bit of help, but they started off the night strong with the Women's Rumble, and off the
first
bat,
of all, strong NXT.
Yes.
Representation.
Now
I've got Roxanne, Lash, Jada Parker, Stephanie Vacour, Julia. I think that's it from NXT.
What about Nikki Bella? No? Come on, I kid. But no,
let's do the good stuff first.
Yeah, so right off the bat, this Rumble had a very decently fast pace. It wasn't to the point where everyone was just, getting thrown to the outside, but they kept the evolving stories going enough that it was consistently fun. There was always something happening or about to happen that was making it worthwhile, worth hanging in for.
Well, they kept the moving parts going because they didn't eliminate anybody for quite a while. And even when they got to their first elimination, it was BFAB, who is relatively new to being featured on her own, and she got a decent run before she was chucked. So for that going forward, like, we had a full, as opposed to the guys Rumble that we're going to talk about later, there was not a whole lot of empty space in the ladies Rumble.
No, there really wasn't. And like you said,
constant state of chaos rather than, okay, we've done this story, now let's shuffle everybody around.
Exactly.
Now we're doing this story.
They didn't really do like the typical past where they've built up and they've had, a legend come out and she eliminates 3 or 4, or they do it where they save everybody for one person and you get all of them, like, in the past we've had Nia do that. There was somebody else coming to mind, but they've had a few, like, notable names come in and eliminate everybody. So
Nia came out late in the game to be a little bit of a steamroller.
Just put Nia in the men's Rumble going forward. Yeah. I mean, she took the RKO well. Let her go out that way. But I was having fun. What's going on, Bradley, in the chat? We got some great people in there. Of course, Liz is hanging on. JAR's over there. We've got so many people chiming in. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button to subscribe down below. We'll be covering NXT Vengeance Day, Stand and Deliver. Oi, 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 oi. We'll be doing everything going forward, as you know, with NXT. But, of course, we'll have TNA and, some of their shows coming up as well. But WWE's got this jam-packed schedule heading to Mania. You, my friend, will be there live. If people aren't, aware, you'll be at the Elimination Chamber.
I will be I was going to say, I'm not going to be at WrestleMania. Don't be getting that twisted.
I know. I wish.
Simple thing, right? They announced for WrestleMania weekend the what do you want to call the supporting events, the SmackDown, the Raw, the Stand and Deliver.
Yeah.
I really like the Stand and Deliver logo. It's super simple, but it makes me think of a TakeOver logo a little bit.
Yeah, it looks
and
really good,
I'm always down for that. But no, it's going to be fantastic, and some of the excuse me, some of the weird stuff we're going to be doing at Vengeance Day is going to be a lot of setup for Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's the thing, and I'm excited because not only that, I mean, like we said, we've got things in the main roster that are actually important. And that's a bit of a stretch sometimes. Usually we get it's a tale of both sides. So for the first, we go ahead and we get the lull that happens usually from the end after Survivor Series until the Rumble. We're not getting that anymore. We're not getting the silly Bobby Lashley, Lana storylines like, hey, here's the wedding. We're getting these things where it's like, hey, these are some of the best promos of the year. These are some of the best things happening. And
the very last thing they stuck at the end of the year was the New Day heel turn, and who saw that coming?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, sorry, I should be fair. We knew something was coming. We didn't know it was going to be that.
No doubt about it. And it's been, certainly for a while now, this really, really just like wild state of events. And for this point in time, we've been like, hey, what's going to happen next? I don't know. Anything can happen. And I've loved that. And with this Rumble, it really, in the men's anyways, came down to the anything moment. I don't recall anyone saying that Jey Uso was going to be the winner. And
we did when you and I did the preview over on my channel. We both kind of went, okay, so who's going to win the men's Rumble? Punk. Okay, now if they're going to surprise us, what are they going to do? I said Sammy or Jay, but I was saying it flippantly.
And there's that Stand and Deliver logo, like you were saying. I'm a little late to the party, but look at that. I love the hearts,
big
and
old
the
X
spades,
in there.
You got all the 4 suits in there, so that's cool. Love it.
I'm still not down for it being WWE stand and deliver, but
I think they're going to get rid of most of the NXT branding going forward. I've heard that repeatedly, and it kind of makes sense. Not for me, for like what we're seeing though. It makes sense. Like, hey,
I see why it makes sense to them.
Yeah, I'm not happy with it, but.
It was the only time they made a brand successfully feel different, because try as hard as they might, they didn't really like Raw and SmackDown had different personalities at various times, but they didn't make you feel like you were watching a different show. NXT, they kind of achieved that. So I don't know.
I'm afraid to open up anything else on my computer near you. But Dreamers Lane said, I knew Jey Uso was going to win because he was watching iShow's speed stream, and people are clipping that up on Twitter right now, saying like Jey was so happy he couldn't contain it. And I'm sure, but that's why they were basically in gorilla position. So I wouldn't consider that a spoiler. Maybe a little bit if you're watching it, but I don't think many people are watching iShow's speed. One thing I did love, they kicked off tonight. My teenage crush, Stephanie McMahon, comes out. I love to see her get cheered.
Yep.
It's because she was such a great heel, and then she kind of transcended that heel heat for a while where people got sick of her. She represented the authority. You didn't want to see her. It was like go away heat. And now she's respected again. And, not only was she there, but we also got her husband to make a big announcement as well. I mean, Tubi. Look at this. They're bringing out Evolve Wednesdays at 8 p.m. That's
the Wednesday Night Wars are back.
Yeah, it's going to make some people upset. I know Casey's not upset, though. What did you think of the Rumble win? Guys, like we said, hit the like button and subscribe because we're going to keep doing tons of stuff in the future. But they kicked off with the 30-woman Rumble, and right away,
You've got notes. I don't have notes.
So Io Sky comes out. Yeah. Liv Morgan, they're the first 2 entrants. And we get a little bit of a back and forth. Most people, Liz included, thought that Io Sky was going to win. So it was something...
Can I cut you off for a second?
Yeah, please. Go right ahead.
Only because I want to make a point. And Io and Liz are 2 perfect examples. We've had a lot of discussion. You and I have talked about it. The whole world has talked about it. What's it called? Def Rebel. Def Rebel themes are not great. They're not the best things in the world. Some people have like some really decent entrances, and the rest of them are Def Rebel. Every time we get the Rumble now, it's this mentality of, oh, I'm not even going to know who it is because they're so indistinct. And it's like, no, they're bad. A lot of the themes are bad, but I don't think you don't know who's who. Like Liv Morgan's theme isn't particularly good, but you still know it's Liv Morgan. Io Sky got to keep her entrance from NXT. I like it.
Io Sky, but okay, Lyra, Roxanne, B-Fab, Ivy Nile, and Zoe Stark. I had no real idea who that was coming out. And Roxanne's I usually pick up a little bit, but the initial with the crowd reaction.
Roxanne's has that like really, really synthy high-pitched bit at the beginning.
Yes.
Lyra's is the opposite.
I didn't hear that with the reaction of the crowd.
Yeah.
So Alexa Bliss, when she got her reaction, we'll get to when she comes out, but the reaction she got, that pop was like, when Mick Foley wins the title Stone Cold era style. Like it was so loud that it popped the microphones. It made everything muffled, and it actually like drowned out the arena's music. All you hear was the bass go. It was insane. I get goosebumps thinking like those are the moments that I react to.
Is the metaphor like we had Lash Legend in there. I don't particularly like it, but it is distinct. It is pretty unique to them. Jada Parker's I couldn't tell because she wasn't using the OTM music.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And so there was a few, and I was like confused. Baszler's using her, pretty horrible cruise, PFC's thing. And Bailey's is recognizable, but DeVille... Maxine Dupree uses obviously Gable's still kind of whatever Alpha Academy. Naomi's new one is not any or at all really recognizable compared to her old Feel the Glow theme.
It's not, but you're not.
You don't have that.
It's not, but you can't, and I think it's crap. And you could just solve that problem by not having Naomi in the Rumble.
But it's not as recognizable. It is noticeable, but it
literally
takes a
spells
while.
out her name.
That's what I'm saying. But it's not an instant like, oh, this is her. I have to hear them spell out her name to be it's Naomi. As where Bliss's that immediate ball. Okay, but a lot of
Hey,
them.
shout out to Bradley in the chat who had Piper Niven in the Wrestling for Life
Oh,
lottery.
there you go.
Yeah, Piper had a good showing. I will say Piper and Naya, because there's other powerhouses in the Rumble that were going to get more focus.
Yeah.
But Piper and Jax both had really good showings. Jax continues to be like a completely new person in this second run. I'm not angling for her to be the main eventer or anything.
No,
but she's doing better.
She has impressed with some of the things she's done. She's getting better at protecting people, and
Piper Niven eliminated her boss accidentally.
Yes, which was a great moment. So,
but hey, they waited until the 6th elimination, so I wasn't kicked out of the second Rumble.
Like we said, we got Roxanne, Lyra, Chelsea, B-Fab, Ivy Nile, Zoe Stark, and Lash Legend. And that's when they really started to get some of the eliminations happening. The Chelsea Green moment was excellent. So she takes a timeout at one point. She's not eliminated. And then when she's on the apron looking, thinks she's going to go ahead and get back in, and her own partner knocks her to the apron from the apron to the floor. And Piper Niven, so sorry. And Chelsea's freaking out. And, of course, her reactions are great. So great sell from her. But I'm surprised Becky Lynch was not there. Maybe they're saving her for something else. A lot of people thought that was a done deal. Alexa Bliss coming in later on, as we said.
I have a theory
huge surprise
about the Becky thing, as well as Jade Cargill.
Yeah, so
they're
please.
Two absolute rock stars, and not having them in the Rumble means we didn't have to watch them lose.
Okay, I get that, but
there's a bit of preservation happening there. Now, are there other people in the roster that could also do with some preservation like that? Yes, but I mean, Jade Cargill going in and costing one of the tag team champions the Rumble is not as poignant as her coming down in the middle of whoever they're defending their titles against next and being like, nah, you fucked with me. Now you don't get to have belts anymore.
Yeah, because they're defending the belts against somebody coming up again. I forget. They announced it the other day. This Monday on the channel, I'll have the weekly wrestling preview where I'll break down Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, and Dynamite and let you know what matches are coming up for this upcoming week.
Well, you got to believe it's going to be Liv and Raquel. Because there was a singles win on Raw.
They did. Maybe that's what it was.
They did the eliminations in the match itself when it took basically the entire filling of the ring to just eliminate Bianca Belair and Naomi because,
Yeah. So
because they need all the protection in the world when they get handed stuff all the time.
After Naomi, we got Jada Parker, Piper Niven, as we said before. Natalia, good pop for her.
Parker, shitty entrance. Never heard that music before for her. She usually uses OTM's music, but she got a good reaction. She had a decent run. I would imagine somebody like Julia came in later. She's the current NXT champion. You want to put her in a good light. But Jada Parker, through no fault of her own, is sort of like a defined mid-carder in NXT. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had given her a quick run and she gets too big for her britches and gets tossed out right away. But she hung in there for quite a while for a developmental mid-carder.
She really did.
I'm really glad to see that. A lot of people saying after Jada Parker was in there, they're upset we didn't see Lola Vice, but I don't think that's for wrestling reasons.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly on. Could have taken the 30 spot, just saying.
Could have. So from there, we got Jordan Grace, number 19, and I went nuts. I lost my mind. This was great. Seeing her go ahead and get that great reaction. People immediately knew that was her. The pop was great.
She had her TNA music. You noticed that?
Yes, and
I wonder if they've just purchased the music.
You hear the announcers screaming, "What an ovation! What a pop!" All this, and then they're like, "Oh, things are heating up." And then she's officially under the umbrella, our umbrella now. WWE's, and that initial, you get the countdown. And then, and just, the siren. Everybody goes nuts.
Casey, I see you in the chat. Come on, man. Be nice.
And, Yeah, exactly. So she needs 2 spots, but hey, I need 4, so I'm not going to complain. But I love this moment.
You're not like that girl that tried to sue Lyft in the States because she couldn't fit in the guy's car. So let's not get ahead of ourselves.
You know, I actually left a comment on that whole actual, like, her lawyer's lawsuit thing because I have been a big bastard. I was massive, 630 at my heaviest, and I never made my weight someone else's inconvenience. Big people have a stigma of like smelling, so that was always a fear of mine. So I was always multiple showers, extra deodorant, cologne. No one was ever going to say I smell anything but delicious.
But it's like you say, like we're diverting already. But like that story just makes me think, like, at what point in your life do you decide to make your problem somebody else's problem?
That's exactly my point. You know, I knew I would need a bigger ride. I would order it. If I couldn't go to a restaurant and fit in a booth, well, I better know they have tables because I'm not going to go there and be like, oh, you can't serve me. Oh, how you're discriminating against me. No, I'm too fat to fit in your establishment. That's the problem, and that's what breaks me. And that's kind of the thing we saw in wrestling for a little bit too, you know, and thankfully we strayed away from that kind of gimme mentality. But we did have Charlotte win, so we didn't get too far, my friend. Going on next, as we said,
Jordynne Grace as well. Sorry, before we get off of
she's coming out like a house of fire.
She hit the what is it? What do you say? Like cartwheel Death Valley Driver on Piper Niven?
She hit it so hard she flung herself into the ropes. That was an incredible moment. I wanted to say to you, she's unaffiliated with either brand at this point. With her, where is she going? Do you think she's on NXT? Is she on Raw? Is she on SmackDown? I don't see her being NXT bound, but I could see her going there for a match or two. Certainly,
I could see her going down and like whipping Roxanne Perez one more time as sort of like a unfinished business.
I mean, she was taken out by Julia later on, so that alone could be a great match and a great story. I think most of it because
you figure
great.
Like you want to say like, oh, put her on the main roster. She's already done NXT stuff, but she was always there. And it doesn't really matter. A wrestler is a wrestler is a wrestler, but she was always there in the auspice of being a guest.
She was a feature. She wasn't. Home
this
talent.
Is like
under the umbrella.
Dude, I really hate to quote Bianca Belair, but
she needs to lose. She needs her first loss. She needs her first feud. She needs more than just, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, but she needs the, as I say, this is probably the only time you'll ever hear me quote Bianca Belair, but she can basically walk into NXT being like, yeah, I go here now.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I genuinely get excited because I wherever she ends up,
her and Zarya is something I need to see.
And there's so many matches, so many feuds. I'm looking forward to her being on the main roster. I hope she goes to Raw and over it because I'm trying to just grow the channel. That's why we want everybody to like and subscribe here. Trying to do a little bit of growth over on this side of things. But if you're enjoying what you're hearing, like we said, go ahead and look for more. We're going to be covering NXT and TNA going forward as well. So if you like that, a lot of people are kind of avoiding those things. So Spaz and I get in the nitty-gritty with our NXT TNA combination reviews, previews, and news and rumors, and all of it out into somewhere. So yeah, Jordynne Grace, stellar, overly excellent. I love it. Michin comes out next, okay, pop, and then we get probably the pop of the night, or even the pop of the Women's Rumble, definitely, but possibly pop of the night. Alexa Bliss makes this return, and they had us hook, line, and sinker. The stories were out there. Hey, she really wanted to come back, but it was her team. They just couldn't come to an agreement. She wanted a few things. They wanted her on her old contract, and so now here's my thought, a little bit deeper than this. Did they feed people fake stories, or did they feed people the truth and say, hey, here's the truth, but we don't want you to tell anybody she's coming back, so we want you to go along with this fake story? So did they willingly put out fake shit, or did they unknowingly get taken for a ride and they showed the dirt sheets, hey, this is for you. You're going to go ahead and get to sling a little mud in your own face by reporting bullshit. So
I don't know, and not to be the boring guy, but I don't care. I'm a mark. She's another one on the lines of like a Dana Brooke or a Charlotte Flair or whatever that gets all the typical, oh, you got whatever you get because, blonde and whatever. And it's just like, fuck
I'm
off.
sorry.
She's awesome.
She
She's
stood
been-
out in the era before and during when the women still weren't able to quite yet excel. She was putting on these incredible matches. She was giving us really good character work. And whatever she was put in, she tried. The Mix Max Challenge with Braun, she
was
put
a lot
in,
of fun.
It was a great time because she put in the effort to make Team Little Big. I still remember that from 2016. Why? Because it stands out in my head because it was fun. Like you said, it was different. With the stuff with her and Bray, I mean, she came out with the Lily doll. We don't know where she stands. Is she good, evil? What? We have no idea. What we do know is she's back. This pop. Oh my God! We're listening to it now. You hear it again. I every time, it's just people screaming into a headset. That's it. But there's no music because you can't hear it. You just hear boom. The bass is all you can hear. I'm
Apparently, like I didn't catch it, but other people on the stream that I was watching before our stream were saying her jacket said like "Fiend Forever" on it.
Yes, it did.
Which is an awesome tribute. And to the people, I shouldn't be leaning on this. I shouldn't be focusing on this. We should be focusing on the positive. But to the people that are like bummed that she's coming back, oh my God, not this again, whatever, like fuck off. She went away. She had a kid. She had a bunch of medical shit going on.
Yeah, she had a lot of health issues. She almost couldn't come back.
That was none of our business. She was really close to Bray Wyatt, so she was dealing with that similarly to how like the Wyatt family and whatever else would have been dealing with that. So she's had a lot keeping her out.
She is tiny, and I am a mark for her. But you know why? Because like I said, she always, even with the Lily doll stuff, and as stupid as it was at that point, she was into the makeup. Remember during the terrible pandemic era of the Thunderdome, she still was doing things like she was switching between her 2016 Alexa Bliss character and the Lily character. Like she'd be in the ring and Asuka would start beating her up. She'd be like, "No, stop, help!" Like that stuff was cool.
A lot of the cinematic stuff that came with the Thunderdome era.
Was it good? No, but she tried. Like everything they gave her, she tried, and that's why she endeared herself with the fans, and I absolutely love it. Never back down, Coot. Don't apologize. She's absolutely tiny, and I am absolutely a mark for Alexa. So next up after that, we saw Zelina Vega come out, who's now on SmackDown. Candice LeRae,
who's now parted ways with the LWO, but then went online to say thank you to Ray and that I'll be representing the LWO on SmackDown. So
little weird, but
it's sort of like the bloodline where the good guy bloodline where they've all separated, but they still like kind of represent each other.
Yeah.
What's up, Triple M?
What's going on, bud? Matt and chat.
Big dub for the Rumble. I agree, absolutely.
Absolutely. And then we had Stephanie Vacour, one of my favorites. She's going to go ahead and destroy Fallon Henley.
If we're gonna go back to the entrance conversation.
So they had no actual screen tonight. Small screen flex is not even the case here. Just no screen. They had the entrance, the very, very long entrance way, obviously, because they're in the field. And then, they kind of had it where they had the digital banner around. I love the production. I love the setup. I love the pyro. I am
the drone shots for the for the long entrances. Yeah.
Exactly. All the production edits that they've been adding in that makes it feel, the effects and all of the little just kisses they've thrown onto it. It really excels at making it feel larger than life. It sounded and felt like 70,000 people. Like Punk said, hearing the difference between 10 to 20,000 is really hard, but you're going to know there's 70,000 people in there. And goddamn,
people are jumping the gun on WWE saying it wasn't really 70,000. I've gone with WrestleTech and a couple of other places. It's at least 67,000. So if you're doing that, you're probably a fan of something else, and no matter what.
But the attendance would be over because now you have comp tickets that they don't even count to the night of, and then you have staff, and they count everybody. They count usually the popcorn people too, which is okay.
Okay, I'm not counting the staff.
I'm not.
Let's be real.
But that's what WWE usually does. I'm telling you. So
even if they lied about the 70, the 67 is still blowing everything else.
But you're 3,000
off,
water. Not 18,000 off, and it's not like All In again where you're saying 83,000 and it's really like 67 or something.
I was tap dancing around it and you hit it right on the head. There we go.
Speaking of, Trish Stratus out next. God, she looks great.
Shout out to Brad in the chat once again, getting in there nice and early, giving the Rumble a 7 out of 10. Everybody else in the chat right now, go ahead. Let's jump the gun. Put it down in the chat what you give it.
Let us
out
know
of
what
10
you
or out
think.
of 5 or whatever. Jake and I will probably say it at the end. But yeah, get the conversation started in the chat. Nice to see everybody there.
You know, you're certainly right. I want to know what people thought. I'm not sure of a number value yet because a lot of this was based on feel. So the emotion side of it, I'm really high on.
But you watch the show for the feel. So if you base your rating on the feel, then it's all good.
But I always have to add logic in at the end, and that often gets me in trouble. So we'll see where this goes. But after Trish, we got Raquel. I'm glad Liv finally got some backup. Then the return of Charlotte Flair. Julia comes up from NXT. I popped. I was surprised to see her. I knew we were going to get Vakur. I did not expect Jada Parker. I kind of expected Lash Legend.
That's funny because I would have thought it was the other way around. I would have said for sure we would have gotten Julia, just more for the representation because she's the champion right now, and Stephanie Vakur would have been the maybe.
Yeah, see, I was the other way just because of they were really quiet on the front of not saying the NXT Women's Champion wasn't involved, and I assumed they would go ahead and have more of a fanfare for it. Yeah. That wasn't the case. So Nia Jax, number 29, and then number 30. Nikki Bella. Not the worst number 30 ever. But not the greatest.
Pretty bad. You know what it is, though, man? Like, if you want to talk about worst 30, right? It's not just about your opinion of the person. And I'm sorry, Amber Heard Bella can go fuck herself. But it's the how high are you riding in the Rumble and how steep a fall is it when they come out? Because you watch the crowd, as I say, shout out to the Wrestling for Life guys. I was watching along with their thing, and it was like, as the countdown was happening, is it going to be AJ Lee? Is it going to be Becky Lynch? Is it going to be AJ Lee? Is it going to be Becky Lynch? Because that was basically like the Jade thing.
We were kind of like...
The Jade thing was already out the window because Bianca and Naomi were already out, so it wouldn't have made any sense.
Exactly. So that's the logic again. I was like, all right.
But it was just like you could do anybody.
We know Jade's not coming. Who's left? Yeah. And I'm like, all right, they're going to hold on Becky. I don't think we're going to see Becky yet. It's AJ. Punk really teased it. Yeah. A lot of people went for it. I didn't see. I'm not upset it was Nikki Bella, but I was heartbroken it was Nikki Bella, if that makes sense at all. Like I'm not upset that she was in the Rumble, just that she was number 30, and it meant that the people we wanted.
Spot. If it was
27 and she switched with Michin and then came in that spot and had more moments, fine. But Charlotte coming out 27. I don't know. Charlotte coming out at 30, I would have preferred, and then because like you knew she was coming, so once 29 people are there, Charlotte's the only one left. Like you don't have to guess. So that's why I was going to be like, all right, that would have been a little less.
What I found hilarious is they showed footage later on in the night of, I don't know where it was. They were showing another venue that was showing the Rumble, and it was like, look how surprised people were. Like when Nikki Bella came out, and all they showed was one chick in a chair, like looking to the person next to her and rolling her eyes. And I'm like, that's it. It didn't kill the Rumble, but man, it deflated it at the end. I hate to say that.
It didn't kill it. So, because we got Charlotte out there, 27, as we said. Nikki's out there, and I don't hate Nikki Bella. So I used to be one of the Nikki Bella haters. I was more on the bandwagon of it. But then she improved her in-ring work. She was really trying to better herself and better how she handled her wrestling ability, and she was really training hard, especially with the John thing. It's so funny. I said years ago when we were covering it back then, you and I even joked. You brought me in for the NXT thing, and I jokingly said for that proposal, it's going to end in misery. There's no way John Cena gets married to Nikki Bella. He's going to propose. I thought they were going to lose, and then he was going to propose. But no, The Miz and Maurice lost. Cena and Nikki win. They proposed. Just like Sammy Guevara.
I still say that was a fun match.
Sammy Guevara and Pat, that he proposed to her, and then he ended up with Taya Conti in like a month and a half later, so people thought he was cheating. There's just not a good...
But I mean, have you seen Taya Conti?
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying there's not a good on-air proposal that's worked out. So
I would take Conti over Nikki Bella. I'm just saying.
I don't disagree. Here's my risky thing, business, though. Certainly.
I think we're coming at it from opposite ends because back in the Divas era, like we were kind of stuck with whatever they gave us until like the AJ Lees and the Pages came along. But like I always made the defense of the Bella twins because, you know, you could see, like you say, they were improving, they were doing all this and all that, and I was like, you know, as far as wrestling ability goes, like, no, they're not tens, but like they're probably fives or sixes. So don't call them ones because they're not tens.
Exactly.
I used to have a defense for them, and then I've said it before. I will say it again. Like the Bellas, Ronda Rousey, various other people have had that switch where they've made all their WWE money, and now they're going to go make their shitting on WWE money. But the shitting on WWE money has dried up because WWE is on the rise.
People want to cheer about it.
So now they've come for their second round of WWE money after shitting on WWE. So it's
their
like
return.
Your character gets called into play, and then I'm sorry.
Talent is not a sexually transmitted disease.
Fair.
AJ, I wish we got you in this rumble.
But also, like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I make the Amber Heard Bella joke because it's true. And you hear other things, and it changes your opinion of people, and it changes whether or not you want to see them.
With
right?
her and shoes in the closet, tits out, watch out for the shoe. Charlotte Flair wins. It feels like Old Reliable. They went with Old Faithful. People saying that she was going to win. I'm like, you're mad. And then they had Roxanne in there. Charlotte did not need to. She doesn't even need to win the Elimination Chamber. Charlotte can walk out, interrupt Tiffany, insult her, and then Tiffany could just say, all right, then fine, and agree to the match. They don't even need any of this.
But see, here's the problem with that, and this is, I think I said this to you in Messenger form while we were watching the show, but I didn't explain
really
it
quick
very
last
well.
time. If she has enough prestige to win the Rumble, then she had enough prestige to just call out the match. Like,
But see,
Roxanne should have won.
They weren't going to give it to Roxanne.
I know.
I would love it, and I really do want that. And I say the same thing for Jordan Grace. Either they're going to come to a Rumble where somebody debuting that night, either as a call-up from NXT or from outside new to WWE, is going to win the Rumble. I don't think it was going to be this year. You had too many established people already in there, right? But here's my point. We're going to get Charlotte versus Tiffany at WrestleMania anyways. The other way that she would have gotten that was winning the Elimination Chamber, which I'm going to be there. They put the chamber in the dome. It's fine.
Yeah. You don't want to see that, so now it's going to be on the Raw side of things with Rhea, and that's going to be great. So it's either going to be number one contenders, or they could have given this to EO. They could have. There was other.
But here's the thing:
here.
they're as much as I hate to say it, and as much as I don't want to see it, they're giving the Rhea match to Bianca Belair. And Bianca Belair doesn't need another Rumble.
See, I've heard that that's not entirely what they're sold on yet, because they might end up with Bianca and Jade.
Okay, well that's fine then. But it was like if the two people getting title shots at WrestleMania were going to be Bianca and Charlotte, then nobody can make the argument to me, well, of course they gave Charlotte 2 wins. Well, I would make the exact argument if Bianca did it, because it would be the same thing, except a bunch of people for a bunch of other reasons would tell me it's not the same. And
they're going off Charlotte because of the prestige, though, saying like, oh, look at all she's accomplished before. Of course she deserves to win the Rumble. But it's like, well, the Rumble, she's won before, and it elevates other. I don't know. It's just. This was not the only road to WrestleMania
Liz
for
in the chat saying it should be Rhea versus EO. I would like to see that.
I would too.
Selfishly, I would love to see Jordan Grace go into the Elimination Chamber and kill some people and get like a fast track to WrestleMania.
Yeah, a la Shayna Baszler or Asuka, or I mean, think about the times that we've seen
Shayna Baszler when she was being a vampire for like a month.
Exactly, biting people. It just Charlotte Flair was a disappointment. I've never been a denier of hers, so I have defended her previously. Like she's good in the ring. My issue is she reminds me of Stone Cold in this state where she feels like she's lost a step. She looked kind of like the Bionic Woman with the knee brace. I'm glad to see her back after such a major knee injury too, no doubt. But is she going to be able to live up to the standard she set for herself? I hope. We'll see. My issue now is that Charlotte is on autopilot till Mania because she doesn't need to wrestle at all. And they probably won't have her wrestle at all, maybe once, if that, until Mania. It's going to be a few promos. She's going to decide who she picks eventually. She might wait and then do it after the Elimination Chamber, or God knows. But either which way.
Well, you can't do it you can't wait until after the Elimination Chamber because
yeah,
when
you're
they,
right.
when they set up the Elimination Chamber match, it's going to be this is for the shot at
after whatever you
Rhea's
don't
title.
choose,
Yeah.
exactly. But you get my point. It feels like she'll
Yeah.
wait forever till last minute before the chamber. I could see her holding out, and we're not going to get any.
That's only
in-ring
4
work
weeks
from
away,
her.
though.
It is, but we have to wait till Mania to see her wrestle again as well. So that's a possibility, and I think that's a bit of risky
I think she's gonna
business.
wrestle before, because
I hope
you've
she
got
can
the
live to the
eliminations, right?
standard. Yeah,
You've got the eliminations, right? So
Yes.
if she doesn't need to win an Elimination Chamber match, she could have some kind of exhibition at Chamber against
So
one of the people
she eliminated. So Charlotte Flair?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she eliminated Roxanne Perez. She eliminated Michin.
Okay.
She eliminated Nia Jax.
Yeah, that's an old faithful. If you want to have somebody that's coming back test themselves against Nia
She
Jax.
eliminated Piper Niven.
I don't think that would be a thing, but okay.
I think there's somebody I'm forgetting. I know she eliminated Roxanne at the end because she was number 2. The last.
I'm not gonna
one,
lie.
but-
I wouldn't. If she wasn't already in a story or an ongoing thing with Bailey, I wouldn't mind Roxanne Charlotte mini feud before Mania.
Yeah.
I don't know how you make it work because they're both heels, and I think they both work better as heels. But
It doesn't seem like Charlotte's going to be a heel, though, really. I didn't get that feeling here. It looked like they were bringing her back full thunder, full steam ahead as a face here, it seemed. And Tiffany Stratton's going to be the
cheer
heel.
her, though.
Nobody will cheer her, but I think that's what they're going with. I mean, we'll see what happens, but Stratton is that loved heel, even though she didn't really have a turn yet. I mean, she attacked Nia, but she's still a heel, so it's
are you both the women's champions on SmackDown are heels that we like? If you look at Tiffany Stratton and if you look
which
at Chelsea
can be
Green,
dangerous, as we know.
Yeah.
Tony Storm.
I mean, with Chelsea, it's kind of fun because you can still cheer for whoever she's facing, like Michin is who she's going after right now. And people like Michin. Michin never has a sustained push, which is kind of unfortunate. But you can cheer for Michin and you can boo Chelsea but enjoy booing her. Like the same way people would enjoy booing John Cena as a way of cheering him, kind of like
no doubt.
the Kurt Angle "you suck" chants that in the end sort of became an ironic thing.
Yeah, because people were, it became endearing, exactly.
And don't call him the other thing because
I not
weird.
bitch. Yeah, exactly. So I told you I didn't get to see the second match. I didn't get to see DIY's 2 out of 3 falls because I was so busy watching Wheeler Yuta and John Moxley
Oh, for fuck's sake!
take on FTR.
For fuck's sake!
Sorry.
Why did they bother?
It was a tape
Why
show
did they
too, so I
bother?
guess they really raised the white flag because they taped this in Atlanta on
taped it
Wednesday.
on Thursday,
or Tennessee, wherever they were. Still,
Yeah.
regardless, I don't know. This was a really great women's rumble from start to finish. I loved everything but the winner, but I don't hate the winner. I'm disappointed. You let me down. I feel let down by the winner, and that's unfortunately a me thing. It is a feeling.
Yeah.
It is I don't hate it.
I don't love this.
And I do want to see Charlotte take on Tiffany Stratton. So
Yeah.
there is I sound like a hypocrite. You're not happy about anything. Alabama, thank you, Liz. And I'm just like, I don't want to be that guy. But anybody,
I
but
love
Charlotte,
it because it's going to elevate Tiffany. So I don't like. I mean, okay.
Yes.
Let's put our dickhead hats on for a second. I like Charlotte winning because it's going to piss off all the right people. Hashtag.
What was one of the first things I said to you? The discourse around this is going to be brutal.
Yep, it's going to be just as fun as next year's Rumble.
Exactly,
But we got
the
12
Saudi
months.
Rumble.
We got 12 months to get to that. No, but look, whether you like her or not, and I say this about Charlotte over some of my favorites, people have their best matches with Charlotte. Becky had her best matches with Bailey. Rhea Ripley, who we're all insanely high on, had her best matches with Charlotte.
And I am insanely high, like I told you before. And
There we go.
I have been just high on Rhea since day one.
Of course.
And I watched her back in the same way league that Zarya came from. I mean, I talked about Joe. I was telling you about Joe Hendry. Remember years ago, before he even had blonde hair, I was talking about him when he was doing dumb shit in ICW using a green screen. And then during the pandemic, he was making all these hilarious parody songs. And it caught on. Yeah, I love the boom that we're in at this point. I love what we're seeing. I love the Renaissance period that's around us, and I love that we're also still having a great time here on YouTube. So if you guys make sure you go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe. In the description box down below, you can go ahead and find the link to Spaz and I's most recent State of Wrestling. I go ahead, I guest host every week, usually on Wednesdays now we record, and we cover everything: TNA, NXT, WWE, rarely AEW. Every now and again something will get thrown in or we'll have a topic of conversation, but
I'll brag about whatever I saw on Destiny.
Exactly. We have highlights, tips, news, rumors, all sorts of stuff, and you guys can ask questions if you want to. Use the hashtag The State of Wrestling or hit one of us up on Twitter. You can find Spaz on Twitter at Spaz Phoenix, and I'm at Countdown Ended, and then on YouTube it's at Spaz Phoenix Podcast.
Or Spotify, or iTunes, or Rumble.
Exactly. So
I would love to see more people on Rumble, just because YouTube is YouTube, and I'd love to see Rumble get big, but it's not big yet. Speaking of big, look at the transition. Look at the transition we got there. Take out the winner for a second, right?
Oh, yes.
Look at the Rumble match should I can speak, I swear. Should set up multiple stories. Should give you multiple headlines. It's 30 people, right?
Yes, and
so if I tell you stories,
it did just that in spades.
If I tell you stories, Roxanne came from NXT, Lash came from NXT, Parker came from NXT, Grace made her official debut, Alexa Bliss made her official return, which I'm sure will piss off all the right people. Stephanie Vacour came up from NXT. Trish Stratus made her triumphant return once again. Charlotte Flair, although we already knew it, made her official return. Julia, and so, even though I think she can go fuck herself, Nikki Bella being there is a headline. Doesn't mean it's a good one.
There are a lot of matches, angles, and moments set up here that I really enjoyed. So, Maxine Dupree getting Ivy Nile out is going to lead to a match. I'm telling you, there's going to be something, because these two have had bad blood for a long time now. Zoe Stark being taken out by Bianca and Naomi. I was like, okay, so they're working on Pure Fusion Collective, and I see them challenging for the title soon too. Nia Jax took out a lot of people. She took out Bianca. She took out Naomi. She took out Zelina Vega. She took out Stephanie Vacour. She took out Trish, Raquel, Nikki Bella. So there's a lot to happen on that side.
And then
of
Roxanne
things.
took out her.
Roxanne took out Nia, so there's another story. The little big type match.
I don't want to say horsewomen, because we didn't have all the horsewomen there, but the old guard, new guard moment they had.
That was a ton of fun.
With, what was it? It was Charlotte, Bianca, and Bailey on one side, and then you had Stephanie Vacour, Julia, and Roxanne on the other side.
And they all sided together. And
it didn't really make sense, because there was heels and faces on both sides, but
they
we
just
all knew what
stood
they were
their ground. Exactly. Look at Chelsea Green taking out BFAB. I mean, that sets up a title match. One of the matches I'm really looking forward to, surprisingly, because they've both, Alexa Bliss has come a long way, and so has Liv Morgan. Since Alexa's been gone, think about how far Liv Morgan has come along. I mean, she was a Riot Squad jobber pretty much when Alexa Bliss was last seen.
Can you imagine? Here's the thing.
She's a former champion, Tag champ.
I know Sarah Logan went off and did some different things with the Viking Raiders and did the whole Valhalla thing and whatever. Ruby Riott went on to become Ruby Soho in AEW and hooked up with Cool Hand Ange, and now they have a kid. Congratulations to them.
Hey.
But look at those three talents that were in that faction.
Yeah.
Imagine that faction now in a Triple H built women's division, in a Triple H built WWE that handles factions well. The Riot Squad could be up there with like Damage Control and some of the other groups there.
I can see a lot of people benefiting from, so many people benefiting from a little bit of tender love and care.
Ember Moon?
Exactly. A Britt Baker could be a big person to come over at this point now and receive a bit of tender love and care. And because all they need is a little bit of focus and things go a long way. Emma is one that I'm, you know, she was so sweet to Danny.
She was come and gone so many times. I've met her.
So have I. She was
to me when I met her.
So
but like, she's
we
come
met
and
her
gone from
outside
WWE
of.
so many times.
I think it was whatever. I think it was Raw then. I don't remember because they kind of blur together, being that many years back now. But Danny and I were very early, and we were outside of the arena, like sitting by the steps, and somebody ran by in like, you know, sports bra joggers type thing really quick. And then my daughter just starts freaking out, all wells up with tears really quick, like, oh my God. And I'm like, what? And she loved Emma at the time. She was doing like the dance stuff and all that. And, you know, it was like early Emma at that point. So Danny was really young. And I'm like, we're not going to bother her. She's exercising. And she was like halfway around, and Danny let out this like little squeak, like an excited thing loudly, but you know, we never approached her, nothing, because we were the only ones sitting there at this point. And she turned around and was like, you know, she saw my daughter all excited, and she came over and said hi quick. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. We know, we're like, we're not even trying to bother you for pictures, nothing. Just saying hi was awesome. Thank you. Having that moment, you know, and it's like Emma's one of the ones, Tennille Dashwood, because we went and saw her perform as Tennille when she, you know, got let go by WWE, and she made that character transition. And it's like, oh, they missed out on. There's so many people that could have benefited, and there's a lot now that could use that.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
I got to meet her one time.
Yeah, you were saying. I was going to say, speaking of, you met her as well. So
I'll give you 3 guesses as to where, and the first 2 don't count.
Bucket list. Oh, Destiny.
Bucket list.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, there we go.
So take that off my bucket list. You know, though, they did try to rehab a bit of the tag division tonight. It felt like, hey, these guys are going to get a great match in front of this massive crowd, the biggest for the Motor City Machine Guns, at least in a very long time, if not ever.
Pause. Motor City Machine Guns. I gotta say, there was a lot of debate when they first came to WWE. Did they make the right decision? Did they go to the right place, etc.? I wonder, as they made their entrance in Lucas Oil Stadium in front of 67,000 plus, if they're ever regretful that they didn't go sign with the Mud Show.
I wonder the same. Now, here's my problem with this match. And all in all, it was very quick. I felt like they could have given them a lot more time. When you have
for a 2 out of 3 falls, it was pretty quick.
It was like 12 minutes altogether, if not less, because the second fall was at like the 9-minute mark exactly. The first fall was 3 minutes in. As soon as they had the first fall with DIY, I was like, oh, wow, they're going to blow through this. And it was a good match. I mean, we got there, and Shelley's thinking there's a tag, and then he super kicks Gargano. He goes for the sliced bread, and, oh, look at that. Ciampa drills him with the knee strike, and 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, you know that would never work any other time. But now it's a 3 count because that's why I hate 2 out of 3 falls where they do the quick early fall. It's like you would have never gotten that any other match, but because you have the extra fall here, you got to spit.
I do like the it's a little bit cliche and it's overused. I do like the 2 out of 3 falls get the first fall in early, because then you get the scramble from, like, you get a story of one team that gets their confidence up early, and you got one team that's scrambling early, and they have to work so hard just to break even, let alone push it over the top.
Yeah,
so
I
do like the easy fall in that regard, provided the psychology is right and all that kind of thing. But I don't want to. The other thing is, I don't want the other way, where it's going to go for like 20 minutes and then you get like 2 back-to-back roll-ups where it might as well have been 1 pin.
I love having you here. I can throw up and they don't even need to know, you know. But,
nice.
Right?
Nice.
But no, you're exactly right with that pin. You can have back-to-backs, and that's the thing. I wish they wait to the very end of the match, and then you can do 2 in quick succession. I would believe DIY getting 1 and then another versus 1 in the 3-minute mark by something that really, I mean, they hit the guns, you know, and it was like, all right, you know, we're gonna do the skull.
Do you know what it's like? Do you know what it's like? Having the baby faces coming from behind the whole time. Pause. Is the not the Elimination Chamber, the Survivor Series War Games.
Oh yes, War Games. I got you. Yes,
guys, I'm
the
tired, I'm
advantage.
sorry.
War Games advantage.
The
yeah.
advantage where the best you can do is even the odds. You're never going to get ahead because the heels, if they've done the match properly, have the advantage. You go from 1-on-2 to 2-on-3 to 3-on-4 to 4-on-5.
8 to 5 on 4. Yeah,
so
you're
you
always
spend
down.
So you spend the majority of the match playing catch up, and if you do that properly, you've got a really good like hero's victory at the end. Now it doesn't matter in this case because we got a bullshit ending.
So that's the big problem here, and I want to spell this out. So for the second fall, Shelley gets in, they tags him and they go for the skull and bones on Gargano, and Shelley pins him 1, 2, 3. That's the second fall. So I'm like, all right, so. They're roughing up Gargano in the ring. They set up for Skull and Bones again, and then we get the Street Profits at ringside wearing hoodies like we don't recognize them. Montez goes over. He distracts the referee. Dawkins hits Shelley with a crutch. So now DIY, they do the meet in the middle. The Ciampa pins him, and then DIY are celebrating and get attacked by the Street Profits.
I'm just saying it's February 1st, and we end this match on an assault by two guys in hoodies.
So are they heels?
I'm just...
Or are they just faces with an edge?
They're mad at everybody, right? Like, they're putting if you attack the heels and the baby faces, I assume the story you're telling is we're back with an attitude and we're here to put the whole division on notice, right?
Yeah.
And eventually you define yourself as heel or face, but right now we're just pissed off. We're forcing ourselves back into the situation. It is what it is. You could have done that. You could have done that after the third fall.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been any different.
Exactly.
Because what happens is these two teams that are amazing, DIY, who we've seen come up from NXT and finally make it on the main roster, Motor City Machine Guns, who have made it pretty much everywhere else and finally come to WWE, get this gigantic stage.
Yeah.
And all four of them bust, and this is like going beyond like storyline, I'm saying here. All four of them bust their asses. Brad saying the whole match was too quick in his opinion. I agree. But besides that, it was quicker because you had to put in this end segment, in my opinion. You got these four guys that have worked their asses off the past couple of years or more to get here and have this really, really cool moment. And the only people we're talking about at the end of the match is the Street Profits, who came in for 30 seconds in hoodies and just cracked them with crutches.
Yeah,
which used to be Ciampa's thing.
And here's the thing, like I said to you, I said commentary really went ahead.
Really saved the story.
They saved it here because I was like, wait, why? Why did they attack? Why did, what happened here? This was just total nonsense. And
well, I don't think they saved it because they told a story.
Well, I'm saying
the story they told
they didn't save
sense.
it, but they saved. What I'm saying is they saved the attack. Is what I'm trying to phrase, because the attack afterwards made no sense. So they saved the attack by explaining it. It still wasn't good by any means, and it ruined the whole purpose and point of this match in the feud, and it really undersold the Motor City Machine Guns. It made them look less than stellar here, as where we could have had like a really great knockdown, drag out, just badass 2 out of 3 falls match like it should have been. No shenanigans, no bullshit. You can let DIY win. Just be the better men for once. Even as heels, if they want to do like a quick roll up or something, but don't go with the attack on the outside, being okay with it, acting surprised that they set it up.
Even if because DIY are heels right now, and you got like. I like the dynamic of DIY because Ciampa is like the serial killer Tommaso Ciampa, and his partner Johnny Gargano is the cocky, arrogant, whatever kind of heel. So it's like you've teamed The Miz with Brock Lesnar. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say Brock Lesnar. But like, it's such a weird dynamic of a team where it's like almost Johnny Gargano is like little brother to Tommaso Ciampa, but they're both going to kill people.
Yeah.
So even if they cheated to get the third fall, it would still have been them getting the fall.
Exactly.
It still would have been, here's me being a heel. Here's me getting my win this way. Or, like I say, the other way around, Motor City Machine Guns getting a huge, gigantic win on what's got to be the biggest stage they've ever been on with respect to them. But
no doubt about it. Has to be the biggest
gigantic
stage.
I don't know, unless they've done something in Japan where they actually did sell out the Tokyo Dome, not like Wrestle Dynasty. I'm an asshole. It's fine. But
It's okay.
Either way, let that thing come to an end. Now, give it a month. As I say, everything I say is going to be biased for the next month because I'm going to Toronto where they put the chamber in the Dome. If we get this triple threat match at the Dome and I'm there to see it, I'm not going to complain. But it doesn't mean it made sense how we got there.
Yeah, exactly. And it really didn't. And that was kind of the big problem. And, I let you run solo there for a minute, but you made the great point of, it just didn't, it fell flat. And that's really it. And for this stage, this many people, you really wanted to knock this home. I was riding high off the Women's Rumble. Even with the Charlotte victory, I still loved the Rumble. And I was excited, with Ron Simmons in the crowd to go ahead.
All kinds of people in the crowd.
So many. John Mellencamp, Rick Steiner, Rob Van Dam, which they called Van Dam. I thought that was funny.
Somebody mentioned over on the Wrestling for Life feed, might have been, pretty sure it was Big Nick when they were talking about anybody but Nikki type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like you had Mickey James in the crowd and you gave us Nikki Bella instead.
Come on. Kidding. And now, shades of AJ Styles, like Liz said, glad to see him back with his old theme, which was cool. Seeing Kevin Owens, a true evil bastard, in this ladder match. This reminded me of the ladder match he had with Sami Zayn at Final Battle in Ring of Honor 20.
Yeah, you're way more familiar with that stuff than I am.
Because Owens in ladder matches, which was his forte, was always great about his selling. He was really good for a big guy about being able to fold himself in half and make it look like he's dead.
Yep.
He could, and when he took the ladder shot tonight, the final one that took him and incapacitated him, he landed in such a perfect way where it looked like he took it all in his head, but he really didn't land on his neck. He landed a good bump. And then
he landed with his head in between the rungs.
Exactly. So he landed in the proper position to take it, but it looks incredibly scary and brutal. As where
it looks
Speed,
like his head's been pushed in,
Yeah, Speed got probably a concussion and severe whiplash because he didn't tuck his chin, taking that incredibly fast, 24-mile-an-hour spear from Braun Breaker.
He also took it to the side as well.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. And little tiny skinny dude to take a spear like that. We will get to that when we get to it.
Crazy.
One thing I will say about this, which would normally be, we talk a lot about, that was too short, that was too long, whatever.
Yeah, this was perfect.
I actually, here's the thing, is I feel like this match dragged, but the drag didn't take away from the match.
Okay.
So it
needed to drag to make the other moments be accentuated, basically, you're saying?
No, I'm trying to verbalize what I'm saying because I'm very tired.
Keep
tired.
going.
It's tired o'clock in here.
I feel that.
No, but it feels like they were going at maybe
0.75, yeah,
0.75 speed. There we go.
So I agree, but I like the battling, and usually I'm not big in battling in the crowd.
It made me think more about each thing that they did, and everything they did resonated more.
Exactly.
So it did feel intentionally slowed down, but in this particular match, it wasn't a negative. I think that's what I'm trying to
Brilliant.
come around to.
Love it, yeah, because it was not a negative. The slower pace at times, especially with the faster pace feeling of the Rumble, someone's always coming out, and then the very quick, action-packed tag team match.
Yeah.
Having this, draw the third largest gate in the history of the company, bigger than any WrestleMania, they said.
Worth mentioning.
Crazy.
Sorry.
Yeah,
for a
please.
pay-per-view, and we know the pay-per-views are short, so it's more likely to happen nowadays these days. There was not a single regular match on this card. There was a Rumble, there was a Rumble, there was a Rumble, there was a tag match, and there was a ladder match. There was not a single one-on-one regular bell-to-bell match on this card.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And yet it doesn't feel like, Wacky Animaniacs, the pay-per-view or anything like that. It just feels like what should have happened. But there was a lot of, you're going to run it down better than me probably, but the spots in this.
And we're going to get to some issues in the men's Rumble that are taking place afterwards. So we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Apparently some people aren't too happy. But being the talent. We'll get into it. But yeah, this match, the pacing, so they're out there, they're battling in the crowd, and I don't know, that at one point the director was all over the place. So like I feel like he just was like trying to look at fans, and then they were trying to hurry up and catch and like zoom back into the shots, and they were missing stuff until Owens grabbed the camera and like pulled Cody's head into it. So that was cool.
I like that. I like when they don't 100% have the perfect shot all the time, because it adds to the actual unpredictability of it.
That's what I was going to add to it. It wasn't a fuck up in this point because it felt chaotic, and then it led to him grabbing the camera. As where the rest of the night they were pretty much spot on perfect. This made it feel more like anything, is not
chaotic.
Chaotic. Nothing's going to plan. Anything can happen. So they fight over that little bridge over the apron.
Can do that with. It's the only match you can do that with.
Exactly.
Because even though the tag match was a tag match, you still run the risk of a 10 count, DQ, whatever. Literally being tossed out of the ring in the Rumble is how you lose.
Yeah.
So this would have been the only match. If you're doing your like show map for the night, this is the only match that could go outside the ring.
This is it. So we had Cody. I mean, the Rumble, you go outside, you lose. You're right. So Cody comes to he's getting reanimated. He's come to life. He's like, and he fucking throws Owens into the ring steps. And he goes under, and he sees the ladder set up, and he's going to go for it. But Owens comes in, and he's got the small step ladder, and he starts just beating him with it. And they set this thing up, and Owens drops Cody off the ladder, and he gets a huge boo. That was funny. And Cody ends up hanging one point in time from the belts.
Before we got to that, I love the Kevin Owens is, I've said this before, Kevin Owens is the guy that can point out how stupid wrestling is.
Yes.
So because he has that element of his character down pat, the fact that he likes taking things away from the fans. So when he went to do, and it's ridiculous anyway, the fact how much they utilize they basically use that small ladder instead of a chair.
Yeah, well, because
in all the places
you're
where
exactly right. He climbs up on it. You think he's going to go high risk, and then he just jumps off. The crowd boos, and then Cody's.
That's my point.
Yeah,
he was going to do a ridiculous high spot off the tiny ladder. He heard the pop, and he just took it away. He took it away from the fan. It's like heel Dudley Boys pulling out the table, getting the pop, and then putting the table back under the ring.
I know. I need a little bit of caffeine.
Yep.
Gas is killing me, but it's worth it. Excuse me, Jesus. So we go ahead, and Cody is hanging on for dear life right after that spot, and he takes. Cody is taken off the ladder by Owens. Now he's swinging. He eventually gets back to the ladder, and that's when he just goes ahead and almost like a pop-up powerbomb slams him down to the mat so hard. Brutal bump. So, love that moment. And you even got a couple of comparisons to Mick Foley there, when you saw Owens dropping down and they set up. So the ladder gets set up in the corner, and we got that incredible, brain buster /
where
suplex.
they had the ladder, and then they had the bridge from the ladder to the rope, and then they went for a brain buster, and it looks like Cody landed on his back and did this really weird arch sell.
Yeah.
But it looks like Kevin Owens, and they even said it on commentary, Kevin Owens got the worst of it.
Because it was like a fisherman's buster, suplex, brain buster, ladder bridge of death. So then everybody runs down. Nick Aldis and Sami Zayn, and you're like, oh, is Sami going to turn heel? How's he going to play into this? And, it was interesting. So we see everybody there, and finally Kevin Owens gets up and he kicks Cody, goes for the stunner, but crossroads. All right, so Owens goes to the floor, and Cody gets back up, and he's going to, try and get to the ladder, but he's getting stomped. And he slams Owens' head right into the table repeatedly, and now Owens is bleeding all over the place. And
sorry, we missed a big story point there.
Yeah.
After that brainbuster thing over the ladder bridge and whatever was when Sami Zayn came out.
Yes. I did say Sami Zayn, and because as I said, I was curious if he'll turn heel. I'm wondering what we get from him there. and seeing him out there, and eventually we get the missed haluva kick, so that was good. It's like, ooh, a lot of things setting up. So finally, Cody goes and he is just beating Owens with repeated punches, and he's screaming at him like, "This is what you deserve. Is this what you want?" And that's when Owens gets the low blow, and he goes for the package pile driver. Cody blocks it, hits the Alabama slam right under the ladder bridge. My God, this ended Owens. His head just kind of like hung through the ladder rung, and he was folded in such a way while his head was bleeding. It looked like he was completely dead.
And he never moved. The entire time Cody was celebrating after he got the belt, he never moved. Like he went up, Cody went up the rampway there, and Kevin Owens was still upside down, head still in the ladder. Sami Zayn looking over his friend, also knowing that he has to muster himself to get back into the Rumble later.
Random shout out to the one and only old Kevin Scampoli. Don't mean old in age, but old legend that, once was on here terrorizing people. And, like he said, this moment had grit. This had true grit. This was gritty. It was real. It was
not cope grip.
Yeah, no, it was electric. It was violent. It was 25 minutes of pure, unadulterated Dusty Rhodes storytelling. The babyface got his ass kicked and overcame the odds, but I think this one is going to take a lot out of Cody. It sets up him and Sammy. Yep. I really like that. The Fisherman Buster spot, and then again landing on the ladder for the final one. Cody was okay, but Owens, like you said, he didn't move, so you don't even know how he's doing, if he's okay. Yeah. Zayn, check him out, and then everything that happened, this is big. This is going to set up a lot. But I'm saying it's big because I really think after how we saw Punk and Cody interact the other day and the stab you in the front line, we saw Cody, it looks like he's turning heel slowly, like it's really weighing on him. All of his friends have betrayed him and attacked him, and he had to take out Roman, but now he's defending him and tagging with him, and he doesn't know who he is. He's losing his identity, and he thinks he's doing the right thing, but people keep getting hurt.
What they did with this,
God, it's good.
And it's not just in this match. They did it in the Ladies' Rumble. We're going to talk about it in the Men's Rumble as well. You had people popping, but you had people thinking, because people were not just popping for what happened tonight.
Yeah.
As soon as Sammy was down there, it's the million possibilities that come with Sammy being there. Because here's the thing, right? Like, Kevin Owens is still going to be mad at Cody.
Yeah.
So you can see him attacking Cody again. He could turn on Sammy and, say that Sammy didn't help him enough or whatever, and you could get KO Sammy. Sammy could turn heel on Cody for hurting his friend, even though they're sometimes friends, sometimes enemies. Like, you could see Sammy attack Cody. Cody, it's rumored that they're going to play around with a Cody heel turn at some point. Could Cody turn on Sammy and be like, what the fuck, why'd you get your nose involved in my match? Like, all of those things are plausible.
Yeah, I like what Coot said. Damn you, Cody. You tried to hurt me, and it hurt. And it hurt bad, Coot. It hurt real bad. And that's the thing.
And, I mean, Cody versus Sammy
wouldn't
be a terrible match.
And, I mean, think about WrestleMania. What do we got coming there? A lot of. I mean, we could even still get Sammy and Owens. And I kind of still wish Owens won here because we didn't get Punk winning the Rumble. So since we didn't get Punk,
I have thoughts.
I will get to it. So all in all, I enjoyed the ladder match. It was great. This is like an 8 or 9 out of 10, and maybe like 8.5. Because the storytelling was really damn good. The wrestling, all of it. It was just enough violence and bloodshed to really, sink my teeth into.
Second guy to get busted open in the night. That's the other thing I didn't mention in the tag match.
Yes.
Ciampa. I couldn't tell when, and I haven't gone back and
looked hard way, right?
He looked busted. KO looked busted. Somebody in the guys' Rumble, I can't remember who, looked like they had like something minor, like a fat lip or something like that. And it's just like, all right, are we all busting our faces tonight? And has WWE finally just like turned the switch back on for blood? Because what was it? CM Punk and Drew McIntyre and Hell in the Cell kind of kicked that door open.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying let's go the AEW route of, oh, we need to pop somebody bleed, but like
I didn't even write them bleeding down in my notes. That's like I went back and for Ciampa.
It wasn't the show. It wasn't.
Yeah, they didn't exclamation point it for us.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't. You can cheer now because somebody's bleeding.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm saying that about a guy like Dean Ambrose, who I like, even though he's in the wrong company.
Yeah. So
Liz in the chat saying Owens asked for it.
He did ask for it, and you know what?
Nice.
He got what he wanted. And speaking of getting what we wanted, we got a great men's rumble with a very big surprise.
I gotta say, anybody listening to the audio when I upload the audio later on is going to be like, "Oh, all they did was just talk to the chat." Well, come on over to Jake's channel and you can be part of the live chat.
Yeah, we want to get you involved.
Although I do appreciate you guys listening over on my side on the audio re-uploads, so that's seems to be fun too.
That's huge because you get to hear our voice when it's coming out of the right microphones and settings. All that work all day. We start off with the wrong mic because of the reset. My God, but we saved it. Thankfully, the chat let us know. I was coming out of a toilet microphone. We got there in the end, and you know what? I know we're exhausted. We'll do this in fast pace, but the men's rumble started off super hot. I loved the intro that they had for it. Alicia Taylor out there, she goes through all the rules, and it gives you that whole
another thing that I like, and I know it's the cheesiest thing in the world, and it's just them like looking through record books and putting a new graphic to it or whatever.
The by the numbers.
By the numbers gets me every year.
Get you in the feels, bud.
They like every year they throw in more and more random shit.
Tonight is why, because it perfectly encapsulates and it epitomizes why I love the Rumble, because anything can happen, and it's when you make a star. I think back to the Austin win. I think back to the time The Rock won. Before 2000 Mania. I know these moments that you get where you really see the precipice of change. He's been main event Jey Uso, who's not been in the main event. He's not done it. Like,
when was the last time that somebody won? And I'm not saying that there's no one way to do a Rumble. Don't get me wrong. Charlotte clearly proved that in the ladies Rumble. But like, when was the last time they truly plucked somebody out of the pile of, oh, well, that would be really cool, but they're not going to do it?
Yeah. I mean, Spaz, as we were talking about before, we went through this lull, if you want to say. Like, it was bad for a little while. I mean, it really was when you think about it. Excuse me, for all that we got. Hold on, I've got my list here somewhere because I pulled it up before. So Rhea Ripley wasn't really a surprise for that Mania, but we were like, hey, that was 39, and we were like, but that felt good. But Cody winning those two were expected. Lesnar and Rousey winning were like back-to-back boos. Like, both of them just came back. They were like entrance 30 and 28.
And it's like you very clearly decided, like, we're going to just push the MMA people this year.
Yeah, the year before.
Kind of like Asuka and Shinsuke.
We were in the Thunderdome.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, so we got Edge and Bianca. Then the year before that was Drew. And that was kind of one of the ones that was like a little bit of that, oh my God, they did it thing. Because not only did he eliminate Lesnar, but he also won the Rumble, so now he was going to face Lesnar.
But he felt like he was in that orbit.
He was in that orbit, and then Charlotte won that year.
Jey Uso has very much been in the I'm in the main event, but I'm not the main event.
Yeah, I forgot Charlotte won that year, and then she went and faced Rhea Ripley and won for the NXT title at WrestleMania 36. Year before
was COVID Mania, right?
Yep. Year before we had Seth and
really
Becky.
Good match that nobody's ever going to watch because it's the COVID Mania.
And then before that we had Nakamura and Asuka, and then before that was Orton, Triple H. Remember when Triple H won? Oh my God! Then Roman Reigns, Batista, Cena, Sheamus. I guess you
could say Nakamura was sort of a step up.
I mean, for years Edge was a good surprise return in 2010. But then we had Orton, Cena, and Undertaker and Mysterio before that. Mysterio in 2006 was probably the last time. It was like, oh, shit, because he was number 2. Before that was Benoit, or Batista, then Benoit and Lesnar. So.
And the last time somebody broke out of a tag team to become the guy Are we saying Jey Uso is the new Shawn Michaels?
So I was very surprised that you are not more upset that Jay won, because I figured you would have been like a year too late. He should have won last year and taken the belt from Roman. With how hard you pushed that he should have been the one to dethrone the tribal chief. And especially where the story is now, how Roman's kind of back in power and all that, Jay should still be the tribal chief. He should have. Yep. He should have, because Cody's story wasn't Roman. It was just the WWE Championship.
Right. He should have, but the toppling of Roman has happened now, and it doesn't take away my wanting Jay to succeed and reach that point. I mean, I said Sammy should have won when they were at Chamber in Montreal, but it was building to the Cody thing and whatever. But because he can't be the one to topple Roman, because Roman was already toppled, doesn't mean I don't think he should be a champion one day.
No, I get that. And here's the thing.
And him winning the Rumble is, in a roundabout way, gonna get me what I want, I think.
Yeah. And I totally get that. And here's the thing, though, so the women's Rumble was an hour and 10 minutes. The men's Rumble was an hour and 20. I preferred the pacing kind of the women's for a while, for how it like dumped people in and out, but I had more fun overall with the winner of the men's. The feel good is what stays with me, the last thing. So we start off with Ray and Penta.
Penta's entrance in that arena. Okay, here's the thing. Okay,
when it started, I'm sorry I'm cutting you off. When it started, you hear the boom, and I thought, motherfucker, that is Aleister Black. For half a second. It got me.
Yeah.
I know you won't be able to hear it here, but I sent it, I think, to you and Liz, like the video of it quickly. I was like, that sounded exactly like Aleister Black coming out ever so briefly. And I was just heartbroken for a second, because I really wanted to see him return. We had the quote of the Lucha Dark Arts and everything that they said with there, and Chad Gable was going to go and learn stuff and blah, 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 all these things. And unfortunately, it's like we didn't get it. And so Penta being there was a great way to start. Him and Ray. I've never been the biggest Mysterio fan, but I certainly do respect what he's done. I like them starting out,
and they know each other.
Exactly.
If you follow What Culture at all, when they used to talk about when they had WCPW, they had Ray and Penta in there at various points doing stuff. I've never seen it, but I've heard it spoken about. So they've known each other for a long time. Before we get into the Rumble, I wanted to mention something I was going to mention at the beginning.
Please go right ahead.
I don't know how new or old this facility is. I don't remember ever seeing it before or that I noticed. The fact that there's two big-ass windows on either side of this building was really distracting at various points in the thing, because you were seeing outside through the sides of the building, which doesn't normally happen unless you've got like an open-top stadium. So it's what we talk about on NXT to a very much larger degree, but when you start looking at the architecture, looking at the scenery a little bit. And I noticed it when they did the wide shot for Penta's entrance. Just, you don't think about like big arenas, big stadiums having a gigantic window on both sides.
Yeah,
if you ever, whenever they showed the WrestleMania sign, it was up in the front of one of the windows. So at the early part of the day, you had bright light coming in from behind it. So you couldn't really see the sign because it was all out of focus and stuff. But yeah, sorry, total side note. But
no. Yeah, I mean, we've had quite the night with these guys, here, and I'm telling you, the two incredible winners, and not expected at all, really. I didn't expect to see either one here, Jay or Charlotte. I mean, Bradley said, I thought we'd see Orton tonight. I heard they pulled Rhino aside in a room somewhere. I thought he would show up tonight, right? There's a few things we didn't get.
I thought we would see Orton during the title match. I didn't necessarily think we were going to see him in the Rumble.
I thought we'd get him during the title match as well, and sadly we didn't. So with the 30-man's Rumble kicking off, Rey Mysterio, Penta, they came out.
Actually, you know what? Sorry, you could have done a really cool spot there, like almost... If they had decided to turn Sammy heel, you could have had almost like me and my friend moment with like Legacy and Sammy KO.
Yeah, it really could have been something. Well, I mean, they still can tell some stories out of it.
Oh, of course they will, yeah.
Thankfully, and that's kind of the good thing here. But, you know, I with the Rumble, it still had the excitement. It had the fun. It had the flair, pun intended. And with what
that was the last Rumble that had the flair.
Yes, but I genuinely was upset about a couple of minor things, little gripes. Doesn't hurt the overall thing, but like one thing I really, really wanted was the rest of Joe Hendry's entrance. I wanted that crowd to do the side to side. Like it seemed like he was trying to run to the ring to make the cue, and then he realized he missed it a little bit, so that he just slid in the ring and went for it. I mean, like, because originally I thought he was going to go to the apron because he did do the turn and smile thing, but the reaction he got still amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like they kind of missed that moment.
It's the unfortunate thing of the only people that really get an entrance in the Rumble are the first two members.
Yeah.
And
Roman Reigns, my God, his went on for quite a while too.
Yeah, but that's just because
he plodded along.
And he just took a long time to enter the ring. He doesn't have like particular like signals and cues and audience participation.
Just enough friggin' pyro.
But the one's going up though.
You know, Jay said it tonight. I bet y'all didn't see that coming. There's another thing coming. You're going to see coming through Oos. Me main eventing WrestleMania, becoming the new world heavyweight champion. So we'll get into it.
There we go. He's going to get me what I want.
He did say I would like one more crack at Gunther, and I really feel like I can beat him this time.
He's going to get me what I want.
We'll get into that at the end too. But
yeah, we will.
So Ray and Penta start. Chad comes out. Carmelo, Santos, and Otis. Nothing really going on yet. Everybody's kind of holding their own.
Carmelo had a really. Okay, I gotta say, Carmelo had a really good showing.
Chime in as I'm going through, please.
Gable as number 3 becomes an interesting thing, depending on how they book it as well. Because until you get number 3, it's a one-on-one match, and number 3 sort of feels like it kicks it into actual Royal Rumble mode.
Yes, because at first it's just two guys fighting, and then you need the third to try and... Because the first two guys are wrestling, they're not always trying to eliminate each other, and especially with Ray and Penta and what they were doing. So, great point.
They both have the issue with Chad Gable anyway.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been cool, because they haven't done this in a long time either, is do that thing where if a leader of a group comes down to participate in the Rumble, then he brings his whole faction with him, and then they become disposable. They don't care if they get thrown out because they're not in the match anyway. They're just there as like mercenaries type of thing.
Yeah.
I think him doing that with the Creed brothers of all people would have been a really nice spot. Kind of like the way Wesley is walking around right now with Tyreek and Tyson.
And like you said, number 3, we had Roxanne Perez in that spot for the women, so it was a good one to have. And then Chad Gable,
and she was the first surprise.
Yeah. So Carmelo, Santos,
not really
and Otis.
A surprise, but yeah.
She was though. You never know for sure. So then we had our surprise because who's out there? Akira Tozawa gets destroyed. He's not happy. He gets sent to the gorilla position, and IShowSpeed has been streaming there for about 20 minutes or so now. And he's like, hey, you're going in the Rumble. Go ahead. So IShowSpeed's music hits. He goes out, and he gets an elimination right off the bat. So it was pretty crazy to see IShowSpeed go ahead and take out Otis. I was like, wow, that's a moment with him and Braun Breaker, but still. And then Braun Breaker starts to run the ropes. He starts off one, bounces off again, comes...
Brad in the chat, apparently on WWE's YouTube, IShowSpeed vows to eliminate Roman Reigns next year.
Yes, that's one of the quotes I was going to get to. Fucking hilarious. But Speed,
I haven't seen any of the post-show.
Speed did his job. So he went ahead here and got speared practically out of his shoes. Braun Breaker throws him over. Otis catches him, and then he throws him over onto the announce table. Speed is done.
I will say,
Great
I know we're jumping all over the shop. Really, really awesome to see Breaker get the spear on Roman.
Yes.
And then equally, like, Roman gets the adrenaline and chucks him out anyway, but doesn't just go about things. Like, he does fumble back to the floor to, like, still sell the spear.
Yeah.
Like, I had enough adrenaline to, like, bitch slap you back, but you hurt me anyways.
I mean, the
that's
IC
really
champ can't be understated. So number 9, Sheamus comes out, and he and Braun, start clashing, but Sheamus gets out the 10 beats to a couple of them, and then all of a sudden Penta almost takes him out with the clothesline to the top rope. Sheamus hangs on. Then
Penta fucked up an early thing. A lot of people are saying the first time he got tossed out and saved it, he looks like his feet got pretty damn close.
He almost eliminated himself there, yeah. So then we had Jimmy Uso. It's Jimmy's third Rumble. He was fighting out for a little bit. Andrade came out. Then,
okay, speaking of stats.
Yes.
Sorry. Speaking of stats. What do we think about the runner on the bottom of the screen?
Okay, I was going to bring this up next, actually. Funny that you mentioned it, because Jacob Fatu comes out, and they're like, this is his Rumble debut, and it shows it at the bottom, and they're keeping track of eliminations, entrance. I love the stats. I like, as you mentioned before, the Rumble by the numbers video and things like that. With this, it wasn't gaudy. It wasn't an oversight, like where they were just throwing whatever or just the entrance. Like, they had enough facts and information, how many Rumbles they were in, how many eliminations they had before, how long they've been in there. Like, all these cool little stats for nerds were finally enabled, just like on YouTube. That option was finally checked off. So I was happy to see them finally go ahead with that.
I liked it. I don't think I would want it to be an every year thing. I like if this is what they think. Hey, remember that cool thing they did in 2025?
Okay, yeah.
I thought that was really. I think if it became an every year thing, it becomes like. For those of us up here in Canada, you remember when Raw and SmackDown were on the score before they moved over to Netflix.
Yeah.
And the score before it became Sportsnet 360, because it's a sports channel, not an entertainment channel, there was always constantly like sports results like scanning across the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
So not only was that little bit of the screen
obscured,
it was taken out. It was a complete chyron across the bottom, but it condensed the video ever so slightly.
Yeah.
And it was like a visual cue of like, it's not there, I must be watching a pay-per-view.
I get that. So
I think
you've got
I think
PTSD
it's a really,
with it a bit.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool thing that they tried. I don't think it needs to be a consistent thing that they do every year, because I did catch myself just like following along and reading to the point where it's like I should be watching the match. So it took me out
it didn't take me out of it. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind if they did it yearly. I'm on a different side here. Like Coot said, numbers make me hard. And I like the stats, so I'm all about it, honestly. I wouldn't mind if they did it year in, year out. My only worry is I don't want to see them do this for things that aren't the Rumble, like stats at the bottom. And it works for the Rumble because it is more sports-based, and there's stats that can apply to it that are relevant. Entrance numbers, eliminations, things of that nature. So I like it. Number 12 was a big game changer here, pun intended. Jacob Fatu comes out, like I said, for his Rumble debut and gets hit by Penta and just no-sells, essentially, and performs a double Samoan drop. And I was like, yep, bye to Gable, bye to Ray, bye to Andrade.
The way they presented him was just stare down after stare down, and every stare down was like, oh my God, Fatu and such and such. Oh my God, we're gonna get Fatu and Breaker. Oh my God, we're gonna get Fatu and
LA Knight, Fatu and like you said, Fatu and Roman, Fatu and everybody that they met up with, and that's kind of the magic of Jacob Fatu right now. There isn't a person you don't want to see him with. And that's one of the things that I'm really loving about WWE is the throughput of storylines, the spider webs. Everything's connecting. Things make sense. And it's not just, oh, well, you're a good guy, I'm a bad guy, so we can fight. No, there's reasons why I don't like you. You broke up our group and you stabbed me in the back. Like, there's history. So, number 13 is your entrant, Ludwig Kaiser. Kind of waits on the outside for a bit and eventually.
Yeah, who did I get? I got Kaiser in your lottery, and I got Andrade in the Wrestling for Life lottery.
Yeah, so
like, fuck me, I guess.
I did get Charlotte Flair for the women's. You saw me roll my entrant before, so I did win for the female Rumble. The men's, I forgot what my number was, but we then get The Miz, and then we already talked about Joe Hendry. Roman comes out, huge pop, spearing everybody. He eliminates The Miz.
Huge pop for Roman face-to-face with Joe Hendry, I should say.
Yeah, that was great. So he takes out Sheamus, and then him and Hendry have a back and forth. That was great. Then him and Breakker lock eyes. They both ran, but Breakker gets him with the spear, tries to toss him over, but Roman reverses it and eliminates Breakker. So it's like, damn, I wanted to see him a little bit longer. So now him and Fatu have the evil stare down. Drew McIntyre comes out, and we're going to talk a little bit about Drew. Apparently, he's very unhappy. So something went wrong with Drew McIntyre's elimination from the Men's Rumble, says Wrestle Ops. When Drew got to the back, he was screaming and cursing that somebody had to get their moves in at the expense of a number of stories in the match. He then stormed out of the building and was gone well before the match ended.
Okay.
And this is from PW Insider and Fightful, so...
And you know what? The angle alert goes off in my brain is like, okay, did that actually happen? Or
so
did
he was taken out by
fit?
Damian Priest, and he was yelling about how he had to get his moves in and all that shit. So I wonder if this is the start of a feud for them two to have at Mania.
Priest, I think.
I mean, Drew's on Raw, but that doesn't mean much for Mania, you know?
Yeah, Mania you can have crossover, and I will say, for those people that are like, oh, do we have a brand split or don't we? The fact that the brand split is a little bit fluid allows us for a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I do think...
I like that they acknowledge it, though, that before it used to be like, oh, we have this strict thing, so now we have to add in rules where you can have 2 trades a night, but it's 3. And, you know, they did all this foolish shit. Now they're like, these guys are here, and guess what? We can meet in the middle when we think it matches up and it's best for business.
But do you know what I like, though, at the same time? And I don't think he's going to be like tippy top, but like since the split, and I know everything's on Netflix around the world, but like WWE's American, so we have to think American for a second. Raw's the Netflix show. So SmackDown is going to feel like show number 2, right? So it's going to be like the big pond, the small pond.
Especially going back to 2 hours eventually.
Yeah, fair. I mean, unless they change their minds about stuff and they decide not to do that, which could also be a thing. But I think they've killed 2 birds with 1 stone as far as Damian Priest goes. Is A, moving him to SmackDown. It gets him like solidly away from the Judgment Day, at least for a little while. And B, if SmackDown becomes the smaller show and he gets to feel like the bigger fish in the smaller pond, I think you're going to see a spotlight on... I don't think he's going to be the champion, but I think you're going to see a much bigger spotlight on Damian Priest than he was as part of the faction in that never-ending story on the main show where he was competing with all the other big names. I'm saying right now, not necessarily Mania, probably post-Mania.
Probably.
Big year for Damian Priest.
Seems like something's in the work there, so it really makes sense. We got Balor with new music. We get Nakamura, Jey Uso, the winner, number 20. AJ Styles back with his theme. Braun Strowman, glad to have him back from the Fatu match.
Because they are a little bit more wink and a nod with the fans, and they're not quite so serious, and they're treating the fans like intelligent fans. I'm surprised we didn't get more sort of wink and a nod stuff between Balor and Styles, who made his comeback tonight as well.
I'm surprised, but maybe that's intentional. It seems like AJ might... I don't know. One of them seems like they might change from heel to face. I don't know, but AJ just went heel recently. Maybe it's Balor, but maybe them.
He's got his old music.
Intentional.
I'm thinking he's face because he's got his face music, and he's just whatever the case may be.
People don't want to boo AJ, so
they might.
It's hard for him to get heat.
If they move AJ to Raw for a feud with Balor, because it looks like what's left of Judgment Day is going to separate pretty soon.
Yeah, I think JD, they're on their way to Splitsville.
I think JD is going to be a face when he gets back because we just saw him break himself and then finish a match.
You and I know JD is never a face. My God. So
not in the IWC, but in the WWE.
Yeah, so Cena...
You know what the sad thing is about the IWC is sometimes JD is the one actually making some sense.
Like what a broken clock, you know, or a mule stuffed, you know, to the gills with heroin. Everybody's right twice a day. Cena comes out, number 23, Punk. 24, Kurt the Personality, Phil in the Arena, Seth freaking Rollins, number 25.
Okay, let me just say.
Yes,
frozen part of the Rumble, right? Now, you've got down on the edges, you've got Jey Uso, you've got I think Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, Finn Balor.
Yes.
On the outside, and on the inside, you've got Roman, Cena, Punk, and then finally Rollins.
Yeah, Rollins
Look
is
at
the last one.
look at those initial people and those look at those initial 4 people and those outer 4 people.
I know.
Is that like, take a snapshot of that? Is that the biggest flex of their roster?
That's
right
what I'm
there?
saying. That's why I said this roster is amazing, but this Rumble was so stacked, and the fact that Jay won and Cena put him over.
Yep.
I mean, that alone states such a volumetric change in the booking mindset. Because again, I don't want to crap on AEW, but they've had their Jey Usos over there, a la Darby Allin, MJF, and Jack Perry, and Sammy Guevara, and none of their pillars got to that upper echelon. MJF
Yeah, but if I was working over there, I'd rather climb a mountain too.
I'd rather be going to Everest.
Before we got, and this is where I'm going to do horrible impression of the night, we had a moment where 4 of the smaller guys were knocked out to the 4 corners, or knocked off the 4 sides of the ring. They were all hanging on the outside.
Everybody's got a corner holding on to the edge.
No, not that. I'm saying when they were knocked out to the apron and they were all holding on from the ropes.
Yes.
And all at the same time, do you know what they were doing?
What?
They were skinning the dogs. They were skinning the cats.
You bastard. They were skinning the cats. They were eating them alive. So
it was the best Rumble. It was fantastic.
Speaking of pussy, Dirty Dom was out next, and Liv's not happy. So
Dom stepping up to Roman.
Damian Priest eliminating Dom was almost as good as what you said. Roman and Dom having that moment was amazing. That was another little bit of comedy that I enjoyed.
Dom thinking he was going to get the 3 amigos on Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns like breaking out of like fucking I'm the king of the castle mode to just have that smirk to the audience.
That like are you out of your fucking mind?
Look at all but the look on his face was like, look at all the big names in the ring right now. This guy?
Yeah. So, because Dom hits a frog splash on Cena, and then, like you said, Roman just stuffs it and then hits a Samoan drop and just looks like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, yeah. Sami Zayn's out next, and he runs and immediately hits Drew with a haluva kick, and then he gets one on Rollins, so it wasn't an accident. And then the crowd is just singing along. They didn't even see the hits at this point. Damian Priest is out next. Like I said, I was happy that he eliminated Dom, but I'm curious if it is going to be him and Drew. LA Knight gets a great reaction. This is his Rumble debut. Yeah! So he helped with Sammy and Roman were helping each other to the feet, and McIntyre shoves them and then tosses Zayn over the top rope, but he holds on, and then Jay throws a super kick that's supposed to hit Drew, but uh-oh. What do you know? Zayn takes the super kick for his elimination. Jay, you son of a bitch, you hit Sammy. He's out. Oops.
That's what I'm saying, man. Sammy's going to turn heel. Him and KO.
Sammy getting the haluva kicks on Seth too, and then it's coming. Him and KO, KO, they're going to go ahead and manage to tear it up his heels. So number 30, Logan Paul, second Rumble. They're talking about 5 people won for the number 30 spot. Like, this is amazing. So we had 9 participants left. 21 already eliminated at this point. So Paul manages to stay alive as LA Knight tries to shove him off the apron. Knight takes him out and clotheslines Priest over the top rope, takes him out. Yeah. But then Logan goes ahead and he stands on the table and he gets a drink of the Prime tossed to him. And that was funny. So AJ then eliminates a distracted LA Knight. So we're ticking down here. And then Logan Paul goes to the barricade. He jumps to the ring steps. And then he goes to get up. And AJ goes to do the phenomenal forearm. But Logan grabs Styles' legs and pulls him out and eliminates him. So Logan Paul, AJ Styles could happen. I feel like we've seen them face, but now we're down to the final 5, 6. We got Punk, we got Cena, we got Seth, we got Logan, we've got Jay, and Roman. So Punk gets the GTS on Logan, and that's when Rollins super kicks Punk and then hits Jay with the pedigree, and Cena gets the AA, and then
I find it so weird how Rollins, especially when he's really excited and like there's a lot of rapid shit going on, he kind of does this like weird bounce in his pedigree. Like it doesn't have the same like what do you want to call it, like jackhammering effect of like Triple H. Obviously Triple H, big powerful dude and all that kind of thing, but the way he moves is it looks like it should be a flipping move.
Yeah,
and
it should like, be, but it's
he and the person he's doing it to
so
both
gracefully.
Bounce. Yeah, but I know you're about to get.
He's delivering it so gracefully, but
there's a favoritism that I'm starting to have with this Rollins Roman thing, because the bloodline thing absorbed so much of WWE for so long.
Yeah, it consumed so many other people into the story, the Sammys, the Seths, the Owens, the Drews,
Yeah, but like not so much like Seth came in at the 11th hour to become part of the Cody story, so I don't even really
No, because he was taking on
much.
Roman in the bloodline at one point. He was trying to mess with Roman
they did
at the Rumble.
They did the Rumble thing where he won by disqualification and all that kind of thing.
Dressing like a Shield.
But it was all kind of cursory. When they go back and it's just the two of them face to face, and it's not Roman with backup, and it's not Seth doing some fuckery, and it's just the two of them face to face.
Yeah, man to man.
It feels fresh. Because it feels like, hey, before the bloodline, there was this.
Yeah.
And it's got such, because of that, because so much of the storylines in the WWE right now branch off of the bloodline. Drew is pissed off at everybody because of the bloodline. Kevin is pissed off at Kevin Owens, I should say, not Kevin like he's my best friend or something, is pissed off at everybody because of the bloodline. Jay and Jimmy, broke up as a team and got back together because of the bloodline. Solo went out and recruited like 3 or 4 new people to the roster because of the bloodline. So because the bloodline is such the root of like most of WWE, to get something from before the bloodline, because it's older, it's fresher. Does that make sense?
No, I totally get that.
There's something about like the whole the bloodline thing sort of falls away from Roman, and it's just this guy that's pissed at his friend.
Yeah, and there's been so many deeper layers, and like an onion, it just keeps peeling away. So to have
ogres are like onions.
So to have it go to something like at such a base, succinct level, of being like, hey, you guys were close, and he betrayed you, and that's all there is to it. You don't need all the other beats and steps. You can really just
ultimately
simplify
their
it.
obsession with each other cost them the Rumble.
It cost them more than that, but yeah, tonight it cost them the Rumble. But think of everything it's cost each other. So Punk gets a GTS on Paul, like I said, and basically goes ahead, gets him on the outside. So like I said, Reigns hits Cena with a Superman punch, and then Rollins hits stomps on Cena, then Punk. And you see Rollins gets up, and him and Roman are looking at one another, and they just start going at each other. He gets super kicked, but he misses it, and Reigns clotheslines him. They're both holding on to the ropes, and that's when Punk runs over and eliminates Roman and Seth. So Punk and Seth not done. Punk and Roman, more to tell. There was a point in time next where I was a little confused, to be honest with you. So my stream died at this point, so I had to go back. So when I came back in, I didn't realize that Punk had gotten eliminated. So I thought, Roman's still in, Punk got eliminated. He's going to have Paul say, that's my one favor. I'm going to take Roman Reigns' spot.
Yeah.
And now that's how Punk wins
Logan Paul
the
chucked
Rumble.
him out.
Yeah, so when my stream came back, I only saw him on the outside. And I'm like, he's out. Okay. So I had to go back for a second. And that's when I saw Roman out. So a little bit of sequential order out of place for me. Now we finally get Cena, Logan,
Jey Uso,
and Jay. They go ahead, and you think Jay is gonna be taken out, but they end up taking out Logan. That was fun.
And then they had a little square off at the end.
Yeah, and these two, they really went into it. So Cena gets the shoulder tackles, does the 5-knuckle shuffle, but Jay fights back, spears him. Cena goes to dump Jay with an A over the top rope, but he holds on. and Jay ends up on the apron. They did this great like back and forth teeter-totter spot. Who's gonna fall? Who's gonna lose?
The overacting of John Cena when they're out on the apron is fucking hilarious.
It's great. You can't overstate it because he looks like he's gonna fall, but then he's so effervescent and over accentuated. Yeah.
When they first got out to the apron, he looks down at the apron like he's never stood on an apron before.
Like he's tightrope walking. Like it's the smallest thing in the world.
Because we've got this affinity for John Cena towards the end of his career, and because of the come on, it's his last Rumble, whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's some stuff he did at the end here, like caricature wise, that only he's gonna get away with.
Yeah, if it was anybody else doing, like if it was Punk doing it, you'd be like, "Oh, come on, this is so silly. This is ridiculous." Yeah, but with this, no, I was.
But it's
all
emblematic
for it.
of everything that we've criticized John Cena of over the years. Of how he's over dramatic, a little bit goofy, kind of a cartoon character. But in this last run, you kind of almost want him to be that. It's like it's your last year. Don't all of a sudden try to be good.
Exactly, and the way he sold the over expressions, all of it was a ton of fun.
Yep.
I see Cena
pure babyface.
Yeah, he hoists up Jay, and then Jay slips, and then Jay gets away and he shoves Cena to the floor. I thought Cena was going to win and go to Mania here. I thought they were, because they went so predictable with Charlotte. And it comes down, and I'm like, oh, they're not going to give it to Jay. That would be great. He deserves it. And oh my God, they did it. I froze. Spaz, I legit was just mouth agape, shocked.
Shocked and awed.
Yeah, I did not think that they were going to give main event Jay the main event. I was blown away. I loved what we got here. Nia was impressive. Roxanne was impressive. But goddamn, Cena putting over Jay really was the shock of the night.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? And it's where you have to make your Rumbles different. Because to the end, normally we talk about the Rumbles and who's going to be in your Final Four. Both matches had a Final Three. Because you had Charlotte, Roxy, Nia.
Yeah.
And then you had... Cena, Jay, Logan Paul. And it was the same thing. It was like the person you knew was going to win, the person that would be really cool and is never in a million years going to win, and a third person. The third person was Nia Jax. The third person was Logan Paul.
Yes.
And then you got down to the final two. And I would say the same thing if Roxanne, like I said it earlier, if Roxanne Perez had eliminated Charlotte, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah.
Right? But they didn't give it to us there because they gave it to us here.
Exactly.
Like Jey Uso is your Roxanne Perez.
And having Charlotte be the predictable one made it feel like, Cena's definitely going to win. It's going to be another Lesnar, Rousey. It's going to be another predictable. Because even Triple H got quoted as saying at the press conference afterwards, he said directly, sometimes predictable is good. John Cena at the press conference afterwards announced that he is competing in the Elimination Chamber. But he's flying back to Hungary to film a movie. So he said he's going to give his 5 other opponents 1 month to slander his name and bolster their self-confidence the best they can. Because he's going to win the Chamber. He's going to main event his final appearance at WrestleMania. He's going to win the 17th championship because that's what's best for business. And that's what John said.
Mm-hmm.
Best for business line is interesting.
I'll tell you why that's bullshit, or at least why it should be bullshit. Remember when I said to you, we were talking earlier today about like some of the graphics that have come out for WWE and whatever, and that fans have put out, and you showed me that one picture, and it was like Cody Rhodes with his belt looking at all the participants in the Rumble, and it's like, well, that's kind of bad because you want to at least think that whoever wins the Rumble might go for Gunther's title, and I said at the time the only person that I would predict picking Gunther's title instead was Sami Zayn because of their history and all that. I didn't think in a million years it was going to be Jey Uso. Jey Uso took a lot of runs at Gunther to get his IC title.
Yeah.
And to go back now.
This photo right here that I finally paused at. Yes.
To go back now and say, I'm going to take one more run at you on a bigger stage for a bigger belt leaves only one option. Leaves me standing there in the dome because they put the chamber in the dome, and watching CM Punk win the fucking Elimination Chamber and win his shot at WrestleMania to go against Cody Rhodes,
Yeah.
so that I can see it happen, so that I can flip off Tony Khan, so that Cody can flip off Tony Khan, so that CM Punk can flip
I
off
still
Tony
want to
Khan.
see Cody. I still want to see Punk be the main event there. Punk needs his WrestleMania main event, so we can stop hearing about it, but 2, so he can get it. And 3, the promo they cut, I just want to see it. I want to see what happens. I want to see the match above all else. The feud, the promos, everything we'll get from these two. I thought Punk was going to win the Rumble, but the Rumble's never been for Punk. He's always had to claw and scrap and fight, so the Chamber is right up his alley. I really hope that we see him win there. I'm seeing Roman Reigns said yeet on Twitter, and Jordan Grace posted that in 2018, it was Cody Rhodes that got her booked on All In. And then 2 days later, she was hired by TNA. If it wasn't for Cody, the rest would not be history.
Damn.
So shout out to Jordan Grace and Cody Rhodes for that.
So okay,
I mean, all roads
here's
come
what-
back to
here's what I'm gonna
Cody
say.
time and time and time again. I mean, that was her direct quote, forever grateful at Cody
Oh, yeah.
Rhodes.
Yeah. I'm gonna do this right now because we're running out of gas here. Quite frankly,
We're at the end. We're at the last pace.
we're
here.
a month out. We've got 2 championship challengers already established for WrestleMania, right? We've got Jay, we've got Charlotte. If I was to put a gun to your head right now, which would not be very nice because you're my friend and I wouldn't do that. Who's walking out? Well, yeah, that wasn't a gun. Sorry, I know it was really dark. I'm an asshole.
You want to whip out the bananas, huh?
Put a gun to your head right now. Who's your chamber winners? Because I know who mine are.
Yeah, Punk, and then the women. So who do I want to see face Rhea? Who's your female winner? Well, I'm thinking.
My winners are Punk and Grace.
I was gonna say Grace, honestly. Like that was my pick for the Rumbles, so I didn't want to be.
If your
a
4
repeat
main,
again, but-
and I know there's going to be Roman stuff, and there's going to be Rock stuff, and Seth and Drew will do stuff, and Cena will do stuff and things.
Yeah, no doubt.
If your 4 main title matches are Jay versus Gunther, Charlotte versus Tiffany, Jordan Grace versus Rhea Ripley, and CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes.
That's such a mania. And here's the thing, now that we know that Jay's picking Gunther, it leaves Cody wide open, which we weren't expecting. Everyone, myself included, had that written off for Punk. So there's so many possibilities. It doesn't mean it's going to be Punk. This, again, might not be his year. He might never get a main event. It just might be the thing he never gets to achieve. We don't know.
He can let Roman win the chamber and then cash in his favor.
You know how amazing that would be if Roman had to beat all 5 men and then lay down for Punk? I mean, there's something to be said about that. Punk sits in the pod the whole time.
Roman starts at number 1. Because who would be... Okay, this is fantasy booking off the cuff right now. But let's just say, throw in somebody random like Penta, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's say it's Roman, Penta, Drew, Seth,
Logan.
Cena, and Punk?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Swap out Penta for Logan.
Yes.
I'd put Logan on the screen as much as possible because it pisses off all the right people. Sorry, Liz. I see you in the chat. You're booing Logan. It's fine.
She hates Logan Paul. She wants to see Jake decimate Logan just for the hell of it.
Oh, my. They're going to be tag champions soon. Don't worry about it. Oh, my God.
Coot did say he was going to beat up Rhea, but I know what he means. You know, if you're going to fight Rhea, go for it.
Give it another year or so. Reunite the Usos. The Usos versus the Pauls at WrestleMania.
Hey, bringing the Young Bucks as special guest referees or what?
I kind of want to watch the world burn a little bit. Did I ever tell you my before the Rumble? I put out a hey, do you want to watch the world burn post?
Yes, I saw that.
And I said, have Kofi come in at number 1, Brock comes in at number 2.
Oof. People thought Lesnar was coming back tonight.
No.
So
Kofi comes in at 1, Lesnar comes in at 2, CM Punk wins last throwing out Sami Zayn. And that's after Tessa wins the Women's Rumble representing TNA.
40% of all the votes tonight gave this show a grade for a great show. 35% were in the B zone.
Nice.
And an F show, which people trolls usually, you see, it's only 5%. And for recent times, it really shows these polls. I've been reading them for years, and it was always such a loaded thing to bring up because it never felt fair. Fans were upset, but with a legitimate gripe to have. So we were shitting on everything, even when some things were
so many people
deservedly better than what we gave them.
And this is the downfall of the Rumble, and it's not the fault of WWE, it's the fault of the fans, and I will say that wholeheartedly, and I will say that with my full chest. So many people rank whether the Rumble match was good or not based on whether they like the winner.
WWE just dropped a hell of a video for Jay. Don't give up is what they said, and they show from start to finish how he never gave up.
He's doing a John Cena. Never give up. Never surrender.
He did it, and banger to banger. Sheamus looked good. Like, so many people look good tonight. And seeing the positive Rumble reactions on Twitter, in the chat, just all over. People are saying, oh, the worst decision ever to have the best Rumble and then have Charlotte win it. But I thought Jay was the best possible ending. So we got both sides of the coin, and I'm excited for Mania. Things are still on the up and up. Like I said, we showed a little bit before back and forth, and again, having Charlotte win may not be the best decision overall, yes, but it was what they thought was best for business. And I don't want to sound like a shill or I'm glazing them off here, but let's not complain because we're getting the match we wanted, her and Tiffany Stratton. Yep. And let's see what plays out for the Chamber and for everything else that sets up Mania. I want to be optimistic here because I feel like they've been cooking and they deserve a little bit of extra, hey, we'll give you some time to paint your picture and then we can judge. Last year I was greatly disappointed with the Uso brothers, Jay versus Jimmy match. It was really lackluster. It was very bizarrely handled. It was nothing but super kicks. And then the next night, they just speared each other off the stage, and that was it. Jimmy was gone until Bad Blood, and Jay was main event Jay, but he lost everything. So let's see what the kid can do. Let's send him to Mania. Let's give him the world title win. He has been extremely over. Yes, but I feared that it was the yeet in his entrance that was over. So now let's let him back it up in the ring like he can, like we know he can, and let's see him win the main event of WrestleMania against Gunther.
It would be cool somewhere down the line, and it wouldn't be at a big four. It would be at like a filler pay-per-view because it would just be like a feel-good thing. He wins the title. Somewhere along the way, he goes to SmackDown. The belts change shows, or Roman comes to Raw because it's Netflix and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he, still acknowledges his big cousin, and out of the goodness of his heart, or whatever you want to say, he offers him a shot at the world title because Roman's never held the world title, blah, 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 blah. And they do this big family thing, ups and downs. We were good, we were bad, we were not so great. You gave me the name Main Event Jey Uso, even though it was sarcastic back then.
Yeah, even though it was a slight against me, but now.
Yeah, but I'm here now. I'm here now. Let's go. And he beats Roman, and then you get the Jey Uso acknowledgement ceremony.
Yeah, I mean, goddamn, but there's a lot that can happen. That's good, That really, I mean, I'm excited. I really am.
I'm excited. I'm tired, but I'm
exhausted
excited.
too. We've been going for a while. I'm gonna give.
Thank you to everybody that's stuck with us tonight. By the way.
Yeah, absolutely. People have been great tonight. I'm giving the Rumble an 8 out of 10 overall. I feel like that's very fair. I have enjoyed the match immensely for the women's. That was a lot of fun from start to finish. And the way that they sold the ending, I don't hate it entirely. I feel like the 2 out of 3 falls was a bit too short, and the Cody Rhodes match was incredibly gritty, realistic, and brutal to the point where it made sense and it wasn't a spot fest entirely. Like each moment fit into the match, the pacing, the storytelling, all of it. Cody's being slowly chipped away piece by piece. It's really starting to weigh on him as we see.
It feels like it's been solidified.
Yeah,
like
certainly.
It feels like whatever is next for Cody is next. Now, that might even be something with Sami Zayn. We don't know. I feel like it's a good way to write off KO for a little bit, so when he comes back, certainly, he can do whatever. I
feel like him and Sami are going to go for the tag titles again. I think we're going to get something like with them, and then they can turn on each other, or we would just have them face each other maybe. But I don't know. I think Sami's going heel.
The way that everything goes back to the bloodline, and now Roman's not exactly a squeaky clean babyface. He still kind of doesn't give a shit, but like he's not the asshole anymore. I think you could justify, like, no titles involved. I think you could justify KO Roman at Mania.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Or have Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre beat the shit out of each other for the chance to beat the shit out of Roman Reigns.
That would be good too. I mean, Liz gave it an 8. Should be higher if Charlotte lost. I could see some people giving this a 9 or a 10. Honestly, I wouldn't go as far as a 10, but a 9, yeah, I can see
I'm
why.
going 9 for sure.
I love being this positive and happy, and it's such a far cry from times where I'd be like, oh, I gave it a 6. People are like, oh, you hate it. It's like, no, it just wasn't really.
It could be better.
Yeah, and then we had other Rumbles where it's like, this is a 4, this is a 3, this was boring. Why did we even watch this? I was excited to watch tonight, and I went in, I enjoyed myself, I had fun. It was a way to escape and unwind, and then we got to come on here, talk with my best bud, bullshit, grow the channel. You guys have been great in the chat. I love that you gave it a 9. I gave it an 8.
Here's the thing.
I'm very happy with tonight.
Because you and I are pretty fair. Like we'll call the balls and strikes in WWE, right?
Absolutely.
We've been over a couple of nitpicks on the show tonight. There's not a single nitpick that I've brought up tonight that put a dent in the show.
No, LA Knight losing, being eliminated, he can still do great things. Joe Hendry not getting his full entrance. Maybe he'll get it eventually. Like all my little silly nitpicks. Charlotte even winning is not great, but it's not terrible.
For the men's, when I was watching people come out, like when the countdown was countdowning, and I saw who was coming out next, it really did draw a big, thick line between this chunk of headliners that we have and everybody else,
like a Carmelo Hayes, and there was people like an LA Knight fits in that middle ground where you're like, oh, he's gonna be up there someday, but he's still not. He's not on the level of a Roman Reigns or a John Cena. So we definitely see the discrepancies in the field.
One question for you, since we're going to talk about presentation and whatnot. We talk about it quite a bit. How many people in AEW and TNA are watching how Penta and Jordynne Grace were presented tonight?
Oh, even how they presented Jade before, how they've done with Cody. I mean, I want Ricky Starks in the worst way. He's one that I've enjoyed thoroughly. I liked him with the NWA. When he went to AEW, I'm like, oh, this kid's going to be massive. Then he got stuck with Team Taz for a long time. I didn't like him with Big Bill. Yeah, they were World Tag Champs, but whatever. He got to work with Sting. Big whoop. I mean, Ricky Starks deserves better. And that's the thing. Dynamite this week, I watched it on Thursday morning, and my God, it was so boring. It was very just heat heavy. Everybody's getting beat down. Oh, we're going to destroy Cope. We're going to destroy the faces, and you're just watching everybody get destroyed, and heel heat after heel heat.
There hasn't been a belt in forever.
Yeah, no one's seen the world title, but here we have them, but they're focusing not just on Cody. Cody was the only main belt defender tonight, but now Gunther's the focus for Jay for the world title. The Royal Rumble match winner is going after Gunther. That's gigantic. You said it like you said before. That picture of Cody. Hey, what are we going to get going forward? Well, this is what we got. Let me go ahead and bring that picture up one last time before we get out of here. I love that photo with Cody. You see him there. It's great with all the TVs. I've got somebody filing here. Oh, no. God damn it. I did this before. I got it. Fucking.
Tonight.
Click. Get out of. No, I don't want to. Hold on. There we go. So, Spaz, tell the people.
We got no. We gotta get We got to get Jake off the OnlyFans. Jake, you don't have to do this anymore. See this show right here, this show that we're doing right now?
Yeah.
We need to monetize this.
Yeah. So we need people down there below to subscribe and hit the like button.
Wait. Down where?
Down there. That's right, buddy. Tell us.
It's tired in here.
Where can we find you, my good friend?
You can go to X and put in @SpazPhoenix. You can go on Instagram and say @SpazPhoenix. You can go to YouTube and say @SpazPhoenix Podcast. You can go on Spotify and search for the Spaz Phoenix Podcast. You can go on iTunes and search for the Spaz Phoenix Podcast. You can go on Rumble and search Spaz Phoenix Podcast. I'm pretty sure you can still go on Amazon and search Spaz Phoenix Podcast, or you can find me being super obnoxious on camera on Jake's channel. Here, Jake Countdown and DeMarco.
That's right, bud. So like we said before, you can find me on your channel doing the State of Wrestling. You've been putting out clips and great snippets from over there in the link down below. That's right, description box down below. You'll find the link. I'm really tired too. You can go ahead and find the link to our latest episode of the State of Wrestling. Check out Spaz's YouTube channel. Again, like he said, he's on Spotify, Rumble, Apple Podcasts, you name it. He's out there. We're also going to be doing some gaming streams on the Twitch side of things, and then trying to multi-stream this upcoming events. You know, we've got NXT Vengeance Day coming up. Obafemi in a triple threat match against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. We got Stephanie Vacour going against Fallon Henley for the NXT North American Women's Championship, and then Julia defending in a triple threat as well against Bayley and Roxanne Perez. So will this be the end of Julia's short reign? We don't know, but a lot to look forward to, a lot to be excited for. We've got a lot going on. Like we said, thank you all for joining. It looks like I said before, we've got our winner. So again, congratulations to him. He'll be getting that Lita autograph. I'll contact you and we'll go ahead and hit you up on Twitter and you'll be sent that in the mail. Again, congratulations to the Rumble Annual Pick'em Contest winner. And as we said, I am Jake. This is Spaz. I hope you all have a great night. Stay sexy, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.